both of their split squad contests yesterday. Cubs lost a pair. The news service of Indeed.com. As a hiring manager, you need to quickly find the best candidates for your open positions. Tools from Indeed, like Skills Test, will help candidates really show you what they can do. You'll save so much time you can take the scenic route home. Post your next job at Indeed.com/hire today. 5:07. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager. The Dennis Prager Show.
The left lies because truth is not a left-wing value. Please understand that. This is not an over-the-top charge. Truth is not a left-wing value. Since Pravda, it has not been. Since Lenin invented truth. Perfect name for the Soviet Communist newspaper.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/search. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter. The smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/search. That's ZipRecruiter.com/search. ZipRecruiter.com/search.
Did you miss the open enrollment this year? I can help you purchase a PPO health insurance plan all year long that eliminates the mandatory maternity coverage. This is Tom Marabali, your health insurance advocate and independent producer for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and other major medical carriers. If you're 50 and are covered by the Affordable Care Act, you're paying for maternity coverage whether you want the coverage or not. In Chicago, the least expensive ACA PPO health insurance plan is $570 per month with a total out-of-pocket cost of $8,150 before your bills are paid at 100%. I can eliminate the mandatory maternity coverage and lower your monthly premium down to $480 per month with a total out-of-pocket cost of $2,500 before your bills are paid at 100%. That's a savings of $5,650 in total out-of-pocket cost per person with my lower deductible. For a free quote and to see if you qualify, call me, Tom Marabali, at 630-863-3477. That's 630-863-3477.
NAPA Auto Parts believes every driver deserves quality parts. That's why you can do it yourself at a NAPA Auto Parts store or have it done for you at a NAPA Auto Care Center. Either way, that's NAPA know-how.
It is 5:10. Let's get an update on the roads now. Team Hochberg Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Good Monday morning on Chicago's southwest side. There's a crash near 47th and Archer. This is on Archer Avenue at St. Louis. Inbound Ryan, traffic still a little congested approaching the Stevenson. There was an earlier crash in that area. Traffic's now starting to move through pretty well. Tri-State southbound near Dixie Highway. There was a crash. That is gone. Traffic's moving well on the expressways and tollways this time. No other incidents or delays to report. There is today closure of the State Street Bridge downtown scheduled 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. That is for bridge testing and maintenance on this Monday. That is traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. And our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
It'll be windy today. Cloudy skies, couple of showers around this morning. Periods of rain for the afternoon. High today 56. Clouds and some rain tapering off tonight, low 38. The clouds give way to some sun tomorrow, the high 48. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
55 O'Hare, 54 along the lakefront, 54 Midway. We've seen a little bit of rain this morning on the way to work. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
it may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results vary. Exclusions apply.
Contacts and glasses are such a hassle. I'd love to finally get LASIK, but
I'm going to stop you right there. If you want LASIK, then the LASIK Vision Institute has officially taken away everything standing in your way.
Isn't LASIK expensive?
Not at the LASIK Vision Institute. We're offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye, and an absolutely free consultation. See for free if LASIK is right for you by texting LIKE to 350-350.
But I'm really busy.
A text only takes seconds. The LASIK procedure typically only takes 15 minutes, and most patients can get back to work the following day. The LASIK Vision Institute uses the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for as little as $220 per eye. Dr. Greenberg has performed 75,000 laser eye surgeries and is one of the most experienced LASIK surgeons in Chicago.
What's that text again?
Text LIKE to 350-350. That's LIKE to 350-350 to schedule your free consultation today.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So coronavirus continues to be the talk of the globe, and it certainly was the Sunday talkies this weekend with a number of public health officials from the Trump administration weighing in on the state of the administration's containment as well as mitigation efforts.
And before we get to that, we should let people know that breaking news, Loyola in Wilmette has been closed for 2 days. So no students have to go to school today because there was a possible community spread between a student that goes to school there knows somebody else in the community who has been diagnosed with coronavirus. So they, as a precaution, they've decided to shut down school for today only, and they're going to do a deep clean of the building.
And more globally, the administration sending out a number of officials, including the Assistant Secretary for Health at Health and Human Services. He is Admiral and Dr. Brett Garrar, and he had this to say about what they know about the lethality, most specifically about the virus at this juncture.
We are still very early in understanding, and all the evidence isn't there, so I want to caveat that. But to set some foundation, the typical mortality rate for seasonal flu is about 0.1% or 0.15%. The best estimates now of the overall mortality rate for COVID-19 is somewhere between 0.1% and 1%, okay? That's lower than you heard probably in many reports. Why is this? Number one is because many people don't get sick and don't get tested. So probably and this reflects the overseas experience. So probably for every case, there are at least 2 or 3 cases that are not in the denominator. So I just want to sort of scale that it's certainly could be higher than normal flu. It probably is, but it's not likely in the range of 2 to 3%. So our best modeling, again, you have a denominator problem, and I want you to understand that only the people who are really sick or have symptoms come in and get tested. So based on the models we have right now, we estimate the mortality as 0.1 to 1%. It is likely not in the range of 2 to 3%.
So it's just an important distinction about the lethality of it, is just so the response is proportional. It's not to say that it's not causing major disruptions and people aren't taking evasive action, because, of course, all of those things are happening, starting in Italy, where a quarter of the population has been quarantined.
Yeah, and here at home, we had a case on Friday, a teacher's aide at Vaughan Occupational High School. It's 91 students that are special needs, medically fragile students. This student's aide thought it was a good idea. Hey, there's a great deal on a cruise on the Grand Princess. Prices are slashed in half. I think I'll leave school and go. And she did, and then she came back, and a few days later tested positive for coronavirus. So now they're on lockdown. They have to self-quarantine, the students, the parents, the faculty, the janitors. They didn't know what was going on. Everybody was sent home, and they have to self-quarantine for 14 days. Or, 1 week.
State Department issued a travel advisory against traveling in cruise ships, but that was just yesterday. Of course, you also have now the high-profile case, what happened at CPAC. There was someone at the Conservative Political Action Conference from the week before last that tested positive for corona. Senator Ted Cruz came into contact with him, as did Representative Paul Gosar from Arizona. Both of those legislators have now announced they're self-quarantining because of that contact with that individual at CPAC. So I mean, this continues. And, by the way, in terms of the market reaction, Dow futures plunged 1,000 points overnight. So it looks like it's going to be more bloodletting in the market today.
And Mike Pence, my whole point of contention is this, because spring break is coming up. We have our trip. I mean, is it safe to travel? Is it safe to fly? And there was mixed messages. Mike Pence saying, yes, it's okay.
We want to be clear that it is safe for healthy Americans to travel.
Yeah, healthy Americans. If your age, you have to consider your age. You have to consider if you're healthy or not to fly domestically. But then Dr. Fauci, am I pronouncing Fauci? He was on with Chris Wallace and had a different message.
We have to be realistic. I don't think it would be as draconian as nobody in and nobody out, but there'll be, if we continue to get cases like this, particularly at the community level, there will be what we call mitigation, where you'll have to do essentially social distancing, keep people out of crowded places, take a look at seriousness. Do you really need to travel? Those kinds of things. And I think it's particularly important among the most vulnerable. And that's the thing that the CDC and the State Department are going to be making some recommendations about how people who have underlying conditions, those are the most vulnerable ones, particularly elderly with underlying conditions, heart disease, chronic lung disease, diabetes, to do right now, not wait, but right now, to sort of take a look at things that are at high risk, crowded places, getting on airplanes, and absolutely don't get on a cruise ship.
How did Fauci's, what he said, say differ in any way from Pence? There's no difference. There's no difference.
Well, just think about it. I mean, how important it is for you to make that trip. Is
Yes,
it worth
and-
maybe getting sick over?
And
then Pence saying it's okay to fly domestically.
You should listen to what Fauci actually said. He's specifically talking about older populations and vulnerable populations. And Pence is talking about generally with that exception. Actually, the messaging from the administration was consistent across the board. And I'll give you another example. The Surgeon General, Jerome Adams, on with Jake Tapper, saying the same thing that Fauci just said, which Pence just said.
Some parts of the country are having much more severe flu seasons. Some are having very mild flu seasons. The same thing for coronavirus. So you want to first try to keep it out of your community. Once you know it's in your community, you want to take the steps to prevent spread within the community and to keep those most at risk safe. And a very important point here, we now know more about who is at risk. Average age of death for people from coronavirus is 80. Average age of people who need medical attention is age 60. We want people who are older, people who have medical conditions, to take steps to protect themselves, including avoiding crowded spaces, including thinking very carefully about whether or not now's the time to get on that cruise ship and whether now's the time to take that long-haul flight.
It's also all preliminary because this is in real time. You had the assistant HHS secretary talk about the denominator problem that we talked about with infectious disease experts last week. So this is all sort of real-time gathering of information and recalibrating the data as you get more information that informs what's happening on the ground. I mean, that's the nature of something new, which is why it's create such anxiety because it is new, even though the flu is infected more people and has caused much more of a body count. It's not new. So we've sort of learned to live with it. Corona's new. We don't have a vaccine. We don't have definitive antiviral treatments. And so people are substituting fear for their lack of knowledge.
This morning, the CDC coming out, Dan, saying the flu, 34 million Americans have the flu. To date, 20,000, maybe more, have been confirmed dead from influenza A or influenza B. Okay, so put that in perspective. Today, there's 565 cases, 24 dead, and 19 of those are from Washington State and mostly from that elderly home.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm sticking with the keep calm and carry on approach to life. And again, if you're older, if you have underlying illnesses, I mean, listen to what the public health officials are saying. Of course, be more judicious. Perhaps you have to be more circumspect than somebody who's younger and healthier. So it's so much of this is common sense, and it seems to me a commonsensical approach is much more effective and much more beneficial to your mental health than the run around with your hair on fire approach.
Running around with your hair on fire. Chris Wallace asked the doctor the craziest question because he has a raspy voice right now. Could he possibly have the coronavirus?
I have noticed you've been all over television the last few days. You have a bit of a raspy voice. Have you tested yourself or had yourself tested for the coronavirus?
No, because I have not been at risk. My raspy voice is the fact that I'm talking too much on TV shows.
Yeah, Chris.
Well, keep doing it. You are a voice of reason and science and authority, and I think when people hear you, they have reason to think they're getting the straight scoop. Thank
Bob in Buffalo Grove.
Thanks for taking my call, Dan and Amy. This past weekend, I attended Friday and Saturday a huge STEM event at the University of Illinois. They didn't want to cancel it, so they made announcements throughout the program. Use your hand sanitizers when you get your awards for your recognition in this big robotics competition. Don't shake anybody's hands. Do air shakes. And it was just a great event. Went off without a hitch. And just wanted to tell you, because they're canceling events, you've probably heard left and right.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And,
yeah, thanks for the call, Bob. Appreciate it. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, they're going to be canceling events, at least with respect to NBA basketball games, if LeBron James has anything to say about it. Because
he's not playing without fans, Dan.
No fans, no LeBron.
Do you play games without the fans? No, it's impossible. I ain't playing. I ain't got the fans in the crowd. That's what I play for. I play for my teammates. I play for the fans. That's what it's all about. So if I show up to an arena and ain't no fans in there, I ain't playing. So they can do what they want to do.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. If you need windows, call the exterior experts.
Call Crumweedy.
Mark Olson and Greg Olson of Crumweedy. Well, they run a third-generation family business that's been doing Chicagoland exteriors now since 1953. And for them, it's all about trust, and they truly share your values. Why windows from Crumweedy? Now, Crumweedy windows are not offered anywhere else in Chicagoland. They are exclusive, and that's why they can offer a lifetime material and labor installation guarantee. A lifetime. That's a great investment for your home. Also, the vinyl windows are 100% virgin vinyl. You're getting quality. Now, if your windows are needy,
call Crumweedy.
Right now, for a limited time, get 50%, half off installation on windows, and get financing with no money down and no payments for a year. The best deal on windows is right now. Go to homeisneedy.com. Homeisneedy.com.
Call Crumweedy.
Crumweedy Home Pros.
Hey, networks of the future are finally here, and Turnkey IT is ready to set up your business. Yes, serverless networks help you save money, increase productivity, and minimize the headaches by not having to purchase or maintain a local server in your building. Unleash your business from having a server. Now you continue to have all the tools you rely on with Microsoft 365, including Outlook, Excel, PowerPoint, and more. Call chat using Microsoft Teams, still available. And with Turnkey, each user gets a terabyte of storage with all files and folders stored, backed up, and ready to be shared securely within your organization. Turnkey IT, folks, is just like you, a locally owned business that understands the needs of other local businesses. They specialize in working with businesses that employ 5 to 200 employees. So go serverless. Call or contact Turnkey IT today. That's turnkey.pro. Leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on what's important. Visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and it's time for reparations. Reparations for the black community are bigger than a single check. Reparations are an opportunity to repair the results from the African enslavement, the Red Line, the war on drugs, police terror, and continued discrimination. It is time for an investment as target as the policies that create our divide. I'm asking you to support the bill I sponsor. Please call your state legislator.
Paid for by drwillywilsonfoundation.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and I've dedicated my life in the service of others. As Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most pressing and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? By supporting the reparation bill, I am working for the descendants of slaves to gain generation wealth, education, housing, job, and service for senior citizens. Call your state representative to support this bill. God bless.
Paid for by drwillywilsonfoundation.org.
The American economy remains strong, and both business owners and employees are enjoying the benefits. Here at AM 560, we want to celebrate the businesses that are thriving. Are you a business owner who's part of this great American success story? If so, we want to hear from you. Once again, we've taken our show on the road. We're broadcasting from Chicagoland businesses enjoying success as they serve their customers and clients through the hard work of their employees. We want to hear your story, share your success, and find out what makes your business run. It's our signature bank business tour. To submit your business for consideration, just go to bankbusinesstour.com. That's bankbusinesstour.com, and we might be broadcasting from your location in the near future.
AM 560, The Answer.
Talking coronavirus, the federal, state, local containment mitigation efforts, the latest data, the economic and political implications.
The schools that are closed today, Loyola and
jazz.
Wilmette and Vaughn School in Portage Park.
Greg in Jefferson Park.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm lucky enough to have both of my folks, but they're in their mid-80s and are about a block and a half from Vaughn School. And they also both go to Rush. We were notified yesterday. I take my mom on a Rush pretty much every week. And they're only allowing one guest with any visitor, whether it's coming to the hospital or the professional building or what have you. And the other concern I got with the Vaughns is there's a Polish deli about a half a block away from there that, we go to all the time. And I'm sure because they've got a hot meal thing there and everything, some of the teachers in that from Vaughn might go there. So no going there for about a month or so. And the other concern I have is Walgreens is a block away where we get all our stuff for my mom and dad too for the prescriptions and that. And you just got to wonder whether or not things are safe everywhere, or should be going to another Walgreens. But I mean, who knows if they're safe either?
Greg, just don't touch your face. The average person touches their face 20 times at least in an hour. So try not to do that. If you have to, if you feel more safe, wear gloves in and out of Walgreens.
Yeah, hey,
but
Greg,
don't stop going to the deli. Just go,
Yeah, Greg, get that finger out of here. You don't know where that finger's been. Thanks for the call, Greg. Appreciate it.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll continue our Corona wrap and try and bring some sanity, maybe a little bit of levity to it at 5:38.
Yes, and later, the 5th coronavirus patient already out of the hospital at Rush, but you want to hear from him about what he went through. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
53 degrees, cloudy skies, and we've seen a few sprinkles of rain this morning. Voters heading to the polls for another round of primaries tomorrow. Contest in Michigan, Missouri, Mississippi, Washington, Idaho, as well as North Dakota will hold Democrat caucuses. Bernie Sanders campaigning in Michigan.
And all over this country, people are asking themselves which candidate can best defeat Trump. I have zero doubt in my mind that together we are the campaign that can beat Trump.
The Democrat race has come down to Sanders and former VP Joe Biden, though Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard is continuing her campaign. The number of coronavirus cases in the U.S. continues to trend up. The total around 560, according to Johns Hopkins University.
U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Jerome
You're
Adams.
going to see more cases. Unfortunately, you're going to see more deaths, but that doesn't mean that we should panic.
Only 22 deaths are linked to the rapidly spreading virus. Dr. Anthony Fauci is head of the National Institute of Health's Infectious Disease Unit. Says that after some initial missteps, there should be plenty of diagnostic test kits available today.
We're not going to have a vaccine that's deployable for at least a year to a year and a half.
However, he says it's not the time to deploy that vaccine. Fauci says if and when coronavirus comes back in its current state, that is when a vaccine should be deployed. Wall Street looks to continue to be plagued by coronavirus fears. When the market opens this morning, Dow futures have fallen over 1,200 in pre-market trading. Oil prices experiencing an historic crash after Saudi Arabia started a price war against Russia Sunday. U.S. oil prices down 27% to a 4-year low of $30 a barrel, while Brent crude, the international benchmark, down to $35 a barrel. South Korean officials say North Korea has fired several unidentified rockets. At least 3 projectiles were fired toward the Sea of Japan from a city near the country's east coast. Authorities are investigating a deadly shooting during a house party over the weekend at an Airbnb rental in Barrington Hills. Charges are pending against 2 teenage boys accused of shooting at Chicago police on the west side. 15 are recovering following a CTA bus crash on Chicago's south side, many of those hospitalized in good condition. Man is in critical condition following a fire in the Humboldt Park neighborhood overnight. Blaze broke out in the attic of a 2-flat in the 1400 block of North Keeler. Chicago man in his 60s is the 7th person in Illinois to have tested positive for coronavirus.
I'd also like to reassure people that though this may be the first case of community transmission in Chicago, it does not mean that widespread transmission of COVID-19 is occurring here.
The latest case is not directly linked to the confirmed case of an employee who disembarked from a cruise ship back in February, who was an employee at Vaughn Occupational High School on Chicago's northwest side. Kofi Coburn blocked Iowa Senator Luke Garza right before the final buzzer, sealing a 23rd-ranked Illinois' 78-76 win over 18th-ranked Iowa in Champaign yesterday. That nail-biting win gave the Illini double bye into Friday of the tournament in Indy. Bradley going dancing in the NCAA tournament after winning the Missouri Valley. College hoops tonight, UIC faces Wright State in the semifinals of the Horizon League tournament. It's 5:35. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Why did all this come out on Bloomberg?
The Sean Hannity Show.
Because Bloomberg had spent $500 million and he was getting close. This came from Democrats. If I had to say the likely culprit, again, educated guess, 31 years on radio, 24 years at Fox, I'd be looking right at the Biden campaign because they know how to play this game better than anybody.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Steve Cortez at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Robert Anderson, president of McLaughlin Body Company in the Quad Cities, and a customer of Signature Bank. When our 100-year-old family-owned manufacturing company was looking for a new bank, we found an excellent partner with Signature Bank. Signature Bank understands the challenges with manufacturing in today's highly competitive environment. We recently participated in the New Markets Tax Credit Program and were fortunate to have the experts at Signature Bank help us navigate the complexities of this program. With Signature Bank's support, we were able to expand not only our facility, but ultimately our business. If you're looking for a trusted banking partner for your business, look to Chicago's own Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The expensive Little Blue pill is now generic, which means the prescription medication to treat ED is super affordable at 4hims.com. And now get your first online doctor's visit free at 4hims.com. That's right. Zero copay, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. That's really good news. To start your free online visit, go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/joy.
unmatched joy.
Raj Shah of SC Wealth Advisors.
When you're working, you know where your paycheck's going to be on the 15th and the 30th of the month. But in retirement, you need to do the same thing as you have it structured now to have a solid income coming in the door every single month.
Raj Shah and his team are growing, and the radio show is evolving too. Same interesting insight and advice on your financial health with a new name. Tune in to Unlock Your Wealth, Sunday mornings at 7 here on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
It's 538 on AM 560. Check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
It's a fairly smooth start to the commute right now. We just see some mild congestion on the inbound ride in the express lanes, 31st Stevenson. Traffic starting to build just a bit on Fishport Freeway approaching the ride. Elsewhere, it's pretty quiet. If you look at the Edens, we see no issues at all. Kennedy's fine. Reversibles are open inbound. The Eisenhower is still looking good. Inbound Stevenson, starting to see a little bit of Monday morning congestion around Cicero. No problem to report on Lakeshore Drive at this hour. The tollways are good. Looking at O'Hare, the flight boards show most flights moving as scheduled. We're seeing a tad bit of congestion on westbound 190 coming into the airport. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. A few morning showers, cloudy, windy, and cooler. Heavier rain this afternoon, persisting into the overnight hours. High 58. In the afternoon, a low of 38 overnight. It's 55 right now. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and I don't want to cause panic here, but it's not just that there are more than 500 cases of coronavirus reported in the U.S. and 22 deaths to this juncture. Also this, and I don't know how to say it other than just to say it, so brace yourselves.
All right, should I be sitting down? I'm sitting down.
Costco is suspending free samples.
No!
Not since Airplane has there been such a crisis. Oh.
No, wait.
Are you telling us absolutely everything?
Not exactly. We're also out of coffee.
That's how I used to feed Peyton and Eli when they were kids. We'd go to Costco, and then you just go through all the sample aisles, and there you go. Breakfast and lunch and sometimes dinner.
I know we've indulged enough of the repetition from the honchos at the federal level to repeat, wash your hands and cover your mouth when you cough and don't lick people on the face and all the other such advice and counsel. Can I try this? Experiences in everyday life over the last 3 weeks. I mean, I guess we're 6 weeks in, but really it's reached fever pitch the last 3 weeks. Experiences in your real life. Wild overreactions to coronavirus. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. The most ridiculous overreaction to coronavirus that you have borne witness to. I mean,
you might be looking at it.
No, I'm not.
There was an SNL skit, and I sent it to you. If you guys can watch it, on Hulu or wherever, just Google it. It is hysterical. It's a telenovela. So it's a soap opera. And it says the disclaimer at the beginning saying, due to the coronavirus, some scenes have been altered. And they just show daily life interacting with people without touching people because of coronavirus.
I got some emails on this over the weekend, some examples. Was in Jewel, and while the cashier was ringing me out, a manager took a call asking if Jewel was closed because of coronavirus. This is happening at a lot of churches, too. I know the
I didn't
Chicago
even go.
Chicago Archdiocese put a missive out late last week. Instead of passing the collection baskets, post them at the exits after church so you don't have to touch the same basket.
And you don't have the holy water in the back anymore to do the sign of the cross.
And you're not shaking hands during
peace.
sign of the peace.
Well, what
sign of
about
peace.
social awkward situations? I went to my sister's house yesterday, and everyone's there, and I'm like, well, what do we do? And even do you do the elbow thing? Because now the CDC says the elbow thing, that's even too close. There's a new thing. Remember Mike Pence got off the plane in Washington State and with the governor there, did the elbow thing, like, hey, this is the new high. Now they're saying that that's too dangerous.
Right,
too.
you do the phantom shake.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the leg kick or the bunny hop or some such thing. I don't know. I went to a Hawks game on Thursday night. I went to a fundraiser on Friday night. And fortunately, I was with people who are sane. So, we just
It's amazing, though.
behave like
There's
people
a
normally do.
sanity column, and there's a completely insane column.
Well, I know. That's why I want to hear more stories of the insane, since I don't interact with it except on this show.
312-642-5600 is turnkey.pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. Yeah, you get upset when you hear people say things like this. Oh, it doesn't work. Let's try that.
We're not talking about this easy airborne transmission. The primary way that this is transmitted is through the droplets when people cough and they sneeze.
Yeah.
When they cough and they sneeze. So real quick, real simple, because I've seen you cough. You don't cover your mouth. Justin, I love you to death,
That's
but
not
you
true.
make me so mad. I hear him going, yeah! And I turn around and he's sneezing all over that control board. And Quinn is right, 2 feet next to him.
Well, since none of us have coronavirus,
But
how
you don't
relevant
know
is
that. You don't know that you have
it?
it.
I know.
There's
know.
a lot of carriers. I talk to people every day,
Exactly.
the couple from Arlington Heights, every day, just to see how they're doing, how it's going, to try and normalize this for me. But what I told Peyton and Eli, this is what we're doing. The CDC right now says it is safe. Consider your age and your health, and if that is appropriate, you can travel within the United States.
Have the Conlons from the gentleman is from Arlington Heights. Have they gotten a restraining order against you yet? Because that's what I would do.
That is so rude. No, they're actually, we need your help. They wrote a letter to Vice President Pence, and they can't find his address. So I was hoping you'd help me out.
1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm sure they'll get it to him.
They're trapped. They eat, sleep, and you know what, in the same 10 by 12 space. It's awful. They've been trapped there.
Yeah.
Well, this new cruise ship, the Grand Princess, they're taking passengers off it slowly, starting today. They're going to Lackland Air Force Base and to Travis Air Force Base. So I think they need to get them out because they're healthy and just get them out of there.
Well,
but you have to test negative 2 days in a row. They're testing negative in the throat swab, but not in the nose swab. So they're sitting there waiting, and they're stuck in this room and can't get out.
Okay. And so that idiosyncratic detail leads you to conclude or suggest what exactly?
I'm trying to stay calm, and I'm trying to stay calm for the children, but it's not if. It's
for all of them? For all the children?
No, I'm telling you, it is coming. It's either going to be Blaine or Amundsen first, and then they're going to tell the teachers and coaches you have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks, and then you have to tell your other employer if you have another job. So then you guys are going to have to self-quarantine.
Okay, Quinn, Justin, and I will just self-quarantine here. And we'll just go about our regular business.
I mean, I'm just saying what we had a meeting, and that's what they told us was going to happen.
Meetings, the practical alternative to work.
Yeah.
Bert in Lake Zurich.
Hey, I heard this from a social media posting. 2 females at the Lake Zurich Target over the weekend. The female grabbed the last 2 boxes of disinfectant wipes, and the second female said, no, box. And she said, well, I need them too, and they almost got into a fist fight over them. That's what I heard.
Almost? Just almost?
Almost. Almost.
Do you know how it got resolved?
Actually, what happened is that the first female that had the 2 boxes was so intimidated by the second that she just let her have both and walked out of the store.
Really? Wow.
You can't find wipes anywhere.
Thanks
I'm
for
not
the call,
kidding.
Bert.
You can't find wipes. This hand sanitizer bottle right here is probably going for $200. You can't find hand sanitizer. I go shopping all the time. We went looking yesterday. No more Clorox wipes. No more hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Just buy bars of soap. And then sing happy birthday to me 22 times. And that's enough time. And then you're done washing your hands. You have to sing happy birthday to me. Happy birthday.
What the hell are you talking about?
When you
Have
wash
you
your
lost
hands
mind?
with soap. soap.
What?
When you wash your hands with soap, it has to be at least 20 seconds. No, like quick stuff. You have to scrub in between.
Yeah.
And sing the song Happy Birthday twice, and that's enough time, and then you can rinse your hands.
Well, that is useful advice. You and Stalin and Larry David impersonating Bernie Sanders with the soap and the warm water.
Oh, yeah, make sure it's warm water. And did we mention don't touch your face?
Uh-huh.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
All right. Amy is going to sing Happy Birthday to Me to herself for a minute, so let's take a couple of calls. Larry and Carol Stream.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. I'm doing some demolition in my house. I went to both Menards in my neighborhood and to the Lowe's store and the Home Depot. Every one of those stores is sold out of the mask that you would buy just to keep demolition dust and stuff out of your face. And I asked one of the clerks and said, yeah, people are buying them. They think it's going to keep them safe from COVID-19.
Now,
I can't believe people are that dumb.
Believe it. But now, Larry, this demolition work you're doing at the house, should the local authorities be alerted?
Well, I think I spent as much money on building permits between my village and the county as I have on all the construction work.
I know. Isn't that a racket?
Larry, I don't know how to break it to you.
property?
Yeah, I don't know how to break this to you, but you're never going to get the money you just invested to improve your house back.
It's bad enough
I'm
we have
sorry.
a coronavirus scare. Don't do that to him.
I didn't know how to tell him, but
Well, you
I
just told him.
I just feel
Gosh.
like it's a public service, like
Uh-huh.
telling him not to believe that face masks from Menards are going to protect you from coronavirus.
Ooh, Marty. That's a tough one.
Mike in Mokina.
Well, good morning.
Morning.
Right now, I'm down in the Villages, Florida, Dan.
Sure.
Amy.
Yeah.
And
Bragger.
somebody. It's a senior community, so you got a lot of people worried about their health.
Right.
And somebody wrote and wanted to know about the coronavirus, and another person responded saying, you got a better chance of dying in one of the roundabouts down here from the drivers than you do from the coronavirus.
That's good. Thanks for the call,
they do
Mike.
live their roundabouts down there, don't they?
Well, you're probably talking about some people who've lived through some things, so that maybe they're a little bit more grounded than some others. Marty in Naperville.
Hey, good morning. Two things. One, first of all, I'm supposed to leave for Israel Wednesday.
Yeah.
And nobody's afraid, but we're just afraid when we get there, things are going to be closed, and our hotel will be quarantined hotel, blah, blah, etc. And on the positive side, though, all these adults who saved all this stuff for Y2K can finally pull that junk out of their basement.
There you go.
So wait,
Thanks for the call,
Marty, you
Marty.
should call.
Yeah.
You should call his hotel in Israel and make sure that, is there a possibility you're going to lock us down for 2 weeks if we enter your the hotel? I would do that.
I'm going to Houston tomorrow. Maybe I'll get quarantined down there with Ted Cruz. I'll let you know.
Are you going down there to golf with?
Yeah, I'm going down there to golf.
With who?
It's none of your business.
No, it is my business.
Dave and Lamont.
I'm making it my business.
Yeah.
Hey there. So coronavirus, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't see what the big deal is. I mean, for millions of us single average working guys, driving Chevys and old pickup trucks or whatever, we've been self-quarantined for years. We walk up to these beautiful modern American women, we say hello, we try and ask them on a date, we smile at them. They give us that look like, go quarantine yourself, get the hell out of here. We go back home, close the door behind us, we're quarantined. That's it.
You're speaking truth, Dave. Thanks for the call. I feel your quarantine. Chris in Lamont. Hey, Chris.
Chris.
Chris
Hello,
in
you're
Lamont.
on.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Yep, that's all right. Go ahead.
Dan, this whole, the media is just driving me crazy on this. First it was Russia, then it was the Ukraine, then it was impeachment, and they just found something else to go after Trump on now. You guys have talked about it. I mean, you got 18,000 people dying from the flu. It just drives me nuts.
No, I know. The Democrats have definitely weaponized the coronavirus. I mean, listen to Mayor Emanuel. Can I play this here? When he was on This Week and talked about Trump and how this is going to affect Trump if there's no more crowds.
Here's the thing. Every crisis, overwhelming force on the front end. By the time you do it, if you wait 3 weeks, you've lost
How
the
about violent
initiative.
crime in Chicago,
This administration
Tiny
right
Dancer?
now looks like they couldn't organize a one-car parade. And I think here's what's going to be devastating for Donald Trump. beyond the fact that this requires science, management, data, and being transparent, which are all his weaknesses, you're going to have a point within about 2 months where you cannot have big events together. If you look at presidential history, Franklin Roosevelt used to drive out in the country to get out. President Bush, 41, was on a speedboat. The Bush and Ronald Reagan would obviously go to their ranches. He is not going to be able to have his rallies. And it is going to psychologically, the office is isolating enough, and his inability to get the admiration, the adulation from that crowd is going to psychologically torment him. And his isolation is going to get more intense, and his tweets are going to get more vicious.
Did he just watch, like, The Shining for the first time over the weekend or something? Is it Trump is going to be in the Overlook Hotel with Shelley Duvall? I mean, what the hell are you talking about? That is the most insane statement from that little dope. The steady hand. Oh, Tiny Dancer, tell us how you handled big crises in Chicago. I sent out press releases. That's how I handled them, and things got worse for my 8 years. In point of fact, actually, I mean, the politics of this, to the extent Democrats want to politicize this, it really cuts against them so long as the response continues to be seen as credible among the wide swath of the American people, which I think it has been so far, generally speaking. It's not without flaw, but generally speaking, that the sense is that Trump was on top of this, the Trump administration was on top of this, and they have real health professionals like Tony Fauci and others at writing point, and that these are serious, knowledgeable people doing the best they can under circumstances that are difficult to manage. But in terms of the larger politics of this, what is the coronavirus doing? It's I think calling into question globalization. And I'm not saying good or bad here, but I'm saying what's it doing per Trump's market position. And how about border security? Oh, you can't keep a virus out of the wall. Yeah, but you can keep people who may be infected with the virus out, can't you, if you have substantial border security and you're doing those sorts of checks at the border. So in many respects, and this is not just my opinion, but others have opined on this, including Tyler Cohen at Bloomberg, that the politics of this, again, so long as the response and the mitigation efforts continue to be solid and perceived that way, perhaps plays into Trump's hands politically. Greg and Schaumburg.
Amy, you're always a trendsetter. So the next time you do have an occasion at your house, hazmat suits complete with hoods, blue gloves in the air. In case you don't know it, everybody, she's got blue gloves on.
Yeah, I like these better than the clear
hip
ones.
Bumps,
thicker.
Hip bumps. One bump means yes, two bumps mean no.
I thought hip bumps were too, thanks for the call, got too close.
CDC said don't do that. Don't even. Stay 6 feet away, they recommend, if you're going to talk to somebody.
All right, we'll have to measure the distance here.
I think we're 5.5 feet. I don't think.
Tom and Deer Park.
Yeah, hi. Last week they pulled the precious blood and holy water from all our churches. That got my attention. And then Friday, they said they no longer will allow us to give out orange juice and donut holes to the children. But did I hear you, Dan and Amy? Did I hear you say Costco is no longer doing the free samples?
No free samples.
No more.
Yeah,
it's too dangerous.
Okay. That rocks my world because this is the reason. This is the reason. Okay. Our Costco over here in Lake Zurich, I spend a lot of time there. One of my forms of entertainment is watching our human behavior surrounding the give out of that food, the passive aggressiveness, the sneakiness, the bowling over of one another. And I'm in a parking lot filled with Mercedes and Lexus. So this is a form of my entertainment. Now I'm really worked up because the Costco food lines, watching how we act, is one of my favorite things to do.
Well, Tom, we at The Answer always have the answer, so we've got a response to that to fill that entertainment void in your life. There is
what would that be?
There is now a niche in the porn industry, coronavirus porn. Yeah, I'm not kidding.
What?
There's this comes to us from Indianapolis outlet. 159 results when you search for coronavirus porn. I'm not kidding. I mean, I didn't do this work myself, but there's a porn industry experts told Vice, I think people are attracted to COVID-19 themed porn the same way people who are scared of their shadow are attached to horror movies. We're all searching for things that make us come alive. For example,
Are you going to a commercial break?
Well, just let me give you an example. There's one COVID.
You're making him feel uncomfortable.
COVID-19 coronavirus. Horny slut has to use protection during outbreak. That's one of the videos. So if
Dan.
Well, I'm
It's
just
a family program.
Yeah.
You know I'm a researcher. I'm on it. All right, bye.
All right. Thanks for the call, Tom. Yeah. I just,
He wanted to get off the line. He was squirmy.
I wonder where he's going.
He's going straight to the internet. That's where he's going.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560. The Answer.
This is attorney Stephen Leahy, host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here on AM 560 every Sunday evening at 5 o'clock. Let me tell you about Bill. Bill's business slowed down and he fell behind on his taxes. Instead of filing his tax return, he decided to wait until he could pay. Well, 1 year turned to 2, turned to 3. Then the IRS threatened to contact his customers, take his house, his bank account, and his passport. Well, Bill hired me. We filed all of his tax returns and an appeal to slow the IRS down. Then we worked out an installment agreement based on how much he could pay, not on how much he owed. Now Bill can rely on the IRS protection plan. We will file his future tax returns and keep the IRS off his back so Bill can focus on growing his business. If you have questions about the IRS, you can get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today, to learn the secrets of solving your IRS problem and save your business, your marriage, and your reputation. Call 312-664-6649 or go to freeirsbook.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
Keep watching.
Keep watching until the song ends.
Well, this is a slower version.
Yeah.
It's 20 seconds, folks. And then go on top, get underneath your nails. Okay.
Great. I'll look for your instructional videos.
Yeah, PSA coming soon. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Joe Biden is running to re-elect President Trump. At least that's what he said in Missouri at 6:06.
And later, I'll have an owl shot. We'll explain, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
A deadly shooting at a house party at an Airbnb in Barrington Hills. 2 teenage boys accused of shooting at a Chicago police officer arrested. Man critically hurt overnight in a West Humboldt Park fire. And Chicago man is the 7th coronavirus case in Illinois. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
A meltdown in the markets. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. Stock markets overseas are down. Dow futures 1,255 points lower ahead of the opening bell on Wall Street. That's more than 5%, with investors reacting to the coronavirus outbreak and a big drop in oil prices. Concern over coronavirus has 2 members of Congress staying home. Fox's Rachel Sutherland's live in Washington.
Chris, 2 Republican lawmakers are self-quarantining after they shook hands with someone who later tested positive for the virus. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas and Congressman Paul Gosar of Arizona say they interacted with the individual at the yearly Conservative Political Action Conference outside Washington, D.C. Neither lawmaker is experiencing symptoms. Meanwhile, according to a memo obtained by Fox News, the House of Representatives is giving serious consideration to allowing staff to work remotely, with offices getting the green light to buy telework equipment such as computers and additional phones. Chris?
Rachel, Joe Biden's in Michigan today. Bernie Sanders campaigns there, and in Missouri. 2 of the 6 states holding Democratic Party presidential primary contests tomorrow.
Super Tuesday had more delegates up for grabs than any other single day on the primary calendar, but about 60% of all available delegates are still to come. This Tuesday, voters will go to the polls in Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, and Washington state, which together account for 352 delegates. A victory by former Vice President Joe Biden in Michigan could put the nomination out of reach for Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. The best bet for Sanders is to hope for a series of stumbles from Biden, culminating in a terrible debate performance on March 15th in Phoenix. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
North Korea test fires what Japan's military is reporting to be 3 short-range ballistic missiles into the waters between the Korean peninsula and Japan. America's listening to Fox News.
Clouds, 53 degrees. We've seen some rain showers through the early morning. 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Authorities investigating a deadly shooting during a house party over the weekend at an Airbnb rental in Barrington Hills. Cook County Medical Examiner's Office says the man died from multiple gunshot wounds and the death has been ruled a homicide. Charges pending against 2 teen boys accused of shooting at Chicago police on the west side. Officers responded to a call last night of a person with a gun in the 800 block of North Waller Avenue. As officers arrived, a 14-year-old boy and 16-year-old boy began running into an alley and firing shots at police. No officers were wounded. Both teens were arrested. A man is in critical condition following a fire in Chicago's West Humboldt Park neighborhood. Authorities say the blaze broke out last night in the attic of a 2-flat in the 1400 block of North Keeler. A Chicago man in his 60s is the 7th person in Illinois to test positive for the coronavirus.
I'd also like to reassure people that though this may be the first case of community transmission in Chicago, it does not mean that widespread transmission of COVID-19 is occurring here.
The latest case is not linked to a recently confirmed case involving an employee at Vaughn Occupational High School. Officials say the woman disembarked from a cruise ship February 21st that was later confirmed to have been carrying 20 who tested positive for COVID-19. The threat of coronavirus is closing another school in Illinois, the second one in a week. Classes canceled at Wilmette's Loyola Academy out of an overabundance of caution. Loyola student came into contact with someone who has the virus. The student and his family are not showing any symptoms, but are still under a 14-day quarantine. But while classes are canceled on campus, teachers are posting all of Monday's assignments online, so really it's not a day off for our friends at Loyola Academy. Kofi Coburn blocked Iowa Senator Luke Garza at the buzzer, sealing 23rd-ranked Illinois' critical 78-76 win over the 18th-ranked Hawkeyes in Champaign. With that win, the Illini clinched the 4th seed in the 2020 Big Ten tournament and a double bye into Friday. Bradley dancing in the NCAA tournament after winning the Missouri Valley tournament in St. Louis. Blues blank the Blackhawks. Nets hold on to beat the Bulls, and the White Sox won both ends of split squad games. The news service of Indeed.com. You only want to use the best route to drive across town, so do the same when you need to hire. Customized solutions like screener questions and skills tests will help you see beyond the resume. So post your next job at Indeed.com/hire. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
So we know you already like listening to AM 560 The Answer. But now, if you listen to us online, you could win a $200 Amazon gift card. Just listen to AM 560's online stream in any of the ways that are available at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, through your smart speaker, or through iHeart, TuneIn, or radio.com. When you listen, you'll learn how to enter to win. It's that easy. Stream, listen, and win. Contest ends soon, so enter today.
The following is a paid political announcement.
A former Notre Dame kicker, Ted Grotto, hits the mark every time. Grotto's a successful businessman and has never run for office like President Trump, so he isn't owned by insiders and lobbyists. Ted Grotto wants to break up Mike Madigan's and Governor Pritzker's political machine that's ruining our state. Ted Grotto supports freezing Illinois' property taxes and cutting gas taxes. And in Congress, Ted Grotto wants to make the Trump tax cuts permanent, build the border wall, and pass term limits to kick career politicians out in both parties. It takes a conservative outsider businessman like Ted Grotto to help President Trump. Join Ted Grotto's team. Give corrupt politics and liberal elites the boot, and give America the win.
I'm Ted Grotto, and I approve this message because I kicked footballs in college, and I'll kick tails in Congress.
Trump Republican, conservative businessman. Ted Grotto for Congress. Paid for by Ted Grotto for Congress.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I love the product. I absolutely love the product. It's amazing, and I'm sure you hear all kinds of great reviews, but I put my mom on it. I put another friend of mine, everybody that I talked to about it, I said, listen, you need to take this. It's amazing. It has helped me. My blood pressure was terrible. My energy was really low. I started taking it, and it was just amazing. I've been using it for a while. And my mom, she went to the doctor. She said, the doctor asked her, well, what are you doing? She said, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything, because she thought it was going to be bad. She said, well, your numbers are good. She loves it.
Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com, and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Do it right to save 5% every day by shopping at Lowe's in-store or online. Save 5% on eligible purchases just by using your Lowe's Advantage card. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval, cannot be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
6:07. Let's get an update on the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
A 4-car collision is causing major backups on the inbound Ryan right now in the express lanes. Traffic is jammed. Garfield to 31st. 3 right lanes are blocked there. The local lanes are much quicker. You will slow down first from 95th to 87th. And the locals, the heavy stuff doesn't start till around 35th Street. It's about 21 minutes 95th to downtown. And the locals much heavier in the express. Edens is clear at the Kennedy, 22 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 22 as well. It's getting heavy on westbound 190 approaching the airport. On Eisenhower, you've got a 2-minute delay, Ogden to Burns Circle. And Stevenson, scattered delay started Central. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Today, cloudy and windy. Showers this morning. Some rain by the afternoon. High 56. Clouds and rain tapering off tonight. Low 38. Clouds give way to some sun tomorrow. A high tomorrow at 48. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
We'll call it 54 officially at O'Hare and 54 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. It's Bolshevik Bernie's last stand tomorrow, potentially. It certainly will be if he doesn't win Michigan.
Yeah, he won it in 2016, but I don't know. Biden's got a new friend, a new supporter that might help him push him over the top in Michigan. Kamala Harris.
Yeah, Kamala Harris announced her endorsement of Biden. I don't know exactly if that has much to do with Michigan, but it has to do with her trying to vie for the VP slot. It certainly has something to do with that.
I just wanted you guys to know I have decided that I am, with great enthusiasm, going to endorse Joe Biden for President of the United States. I believe in Joe. I really believe in him, and I have known him for a long time. One of the things that we need right now is we need a leader who really does care about the people and who can therefore unify the people. And I believe Joe can do that. I am supporting Joe because I believe that he is a man who has lived his life with great dignity. He is a public servant who has always worked for the best of who we are as a nation, and we need that right now. There is so much at stake in this election, guys. So join me in supporting Joe, and let's get this done.
No. And what about that busing flap that you got so upset about? I guess that's all water under the proverbial bridge.
She wants a bigger job. She wants a promotion.
Don't count on Bernie Sanders in Michigan quite yet, writes Nolan Finley in the Detroit Free Press. But he does make the point. March of 2016, the RCP average, Real Clear Politics average, had Sanders down 21 points to Hillary, and yet he won Michigan. Now, it doesn't seem like, though, the momentum is with him. It seems like the momentum continues to be with Biden as he's flipped the script in Michigan, was behind Bernie. Now the RCP average has him up by 7 points. Also, just if you dig into the numbers, as Finley did a little bit, I mean, Biden's favorability among voters over 65, 84%. Among black voters, 74%. It just doesn't look like this is shaping up to be another comeback story for Bernie. The one caveat is that Many of the Michigan colleges were on spring break last week, and they're going to return to the classrooms today. So young voters, obviously, Bernie's strength, could they make the difference? Possibly, unlikely. Also, there was a robo-poll done by Ogden and Fry here in Chicago on Illinois' primary for a week from tomorrow. And he's got Joe Biden up 30 points in Illinois. Yeah,
Okay.
30 points. Oh, by the way,
despite Bernie's big, big
Grand Park
festive in
rally.
Grand Park,
Yeah.
15,000 people there. Reverend Jesse Jackson endorsing him.
Also, interestingly, as an aside, he also tested the Cook County State's Attorney's race, and he's got Kim Foxx up 13 points over Conway and winning by 17 if you force people to make a decision and not be undecided. So Kim Foxx continues to maintain a lead. It looks like she's going to coast to victory.
Gross.
But
I'm
you
still pulling a Democratic ballot. I'm still going to try.
Okay.
And I'm telling everybody I can about Donna Moore.
All right. You mentioned Jesse Jackson Sr. Yeah, he was
he's in.
up in Grand Rapids rallying for Bernie.
I stand with Bernie Sanders today because he stood with me. I stand with him because he stands with you.
Powerful stuff. Expanding.
What kind of endorsement is that? I stand with
the
him.
appeal.
I stand with him because he stands with you. I'm going to need a little more.
He also, I stand with him because he stood with me, meaning he endorsed Jesse Jackson for president in '88.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's what he was referencing.
Okay.
So they go back a ways, and that's all well and good. Jesse Jackson's endorsement in Michigan, does that move votes the way that Jim Clyburn's did in South Carolina? I don't think so. So, again, I don't think it's going to happen for Bernie tomorrow, and then it's effectively over. However, Joe Biden is doing a nice job of trying to keep him in the race by
oh, my gosh, it's so embarrassing. Where are we going to start?
Calling more question to his mental acuity in St. Louis.
Hold on.
Audio.
Turn this primary from a campaign that's about negative attacks into one about what we're for, because we cannot get reelected. We cannot win this reelection. Excuse me. We can only reelect Donald Trump.
We can only reelect Donald Trump.
We cannot. We have to get reelected. We cannot win this reelection. We can only reelect Donald Trump. Okay, we'll work that out. But look, he is a Democrat, lifelong Democrat, lifelong.
You want to nominate a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat, a proud Democrat, an Biden-Obama Democrat.
The Biden-Obama Democrats are rallying around Joe Biden. It's little things, but then they become a bit contagious, don't they? I mean, Amy Klobuchar apparently announced that she's going to be his running mate. That's normally something reserved for the presidential nominee.
I could not think of a better way to end my candidacy, as hard as that was to do with our beloved staff and everyone else, than to join the Joe Biden.
Oh, she said to join the.
She meant to say terrific, and she said ticket. What would Freud say about that cover story?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was a bit of Freudian stuff.
No,
but I think she'd be strong on the ballot with him.
Why?
Because, well, first of all, she doesn't have the early stages of dementia.
Well, that would be anybody.
Well, but he needs to
ostensibly.
have somebody young and spry and capable, and she's been in the Senate. I trust her.
Young and spry and capable. Why do you trust her?
I think that she's a reasonable Midwesterner, and I don't think she's a crazy progressive. And I think Joe needs somebody because he's not going to last 4 years. There is no way in the world. 312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
The short list seems to include
what do you got?
Klobuchar, Kamala, Reparation H, Stacey Abrams.
Oh, my God.
Who, again,
disastrous.
For the Bears, because I'm still hoping the Bears will sign her as a free agent. They need some blocking up front for David Montgomery this season.
Stop it.
Also, the two New Hampshire senators, Janine Shaheen and Maggie Hyson, are, I think, on the short list. So he's definitely looking for a female. And maybe this female, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I heard rumblings about that all weekend long.
Our friend Michael Goodwin over at the New York Post writing about this. Instead of a smooth ride, it's more likely that the Dems' desperate search for a Trump slayer will hit more turbulence, and an alternative to Biden still could be necessary. Guess what? One just happens to be waiting in the wings, hoping for an invitation. Before you laugh at the prospect of a Hillary Clinton comeback, consider the two weird twists and turns, weird twists and turns of Biden's campaign. The widespread belief that the former VP is ready and able to go the distance strikes me as wishful thinking at best. It is suspect because it is so sudden and reflects a complete reversal of the sentiment about him less than 2 weeks ago. So he's suggesting not only a possible running mate, but a possible replacement if Biden continues to stumble and fumble and bumble around such that he just is not viable. I think we're a long way from that.
Well, according to the Daily Wire, Biden's camp has asked for the next debate with Bernie that he could sit on a chair.
Mm-hmm. And
not
also,
a good sign.
Yeah, he's also asked to be able to sub in other people to answer questions for him, if that's possible. Yeah,
because his memory's fading, and it happens.
Well,
when
again,
you get older,
Biden isn't what he used to be, and he wasn't then either. This guy has always been a goof, always been a gaffe machine. He has always been an intellectual lightweight, and he continues to be. So we shouldn't be surprised that the skill sets he doesn't have even more in his dotage. And that's what's happening. And so this is a real problem for Team Biden. Now, the interesting thing is you've got all the surrogates trying to, threaten the D.C. press corps and also the Trump campaign about how they go after Biden. Like, don't touch a hair on the head of Hunter Biden. This was just bizarre.
What is it?
This goofball, a lot of goofballs around. This former advisor to Mike Bloomberg's campaign, Tim O'Brien is his name. He was on with the insufferable Joy Reid on MSNBC,
okay.
and the idea of going after Biden, Hunter Biden, was raised because Joy Reid was detailing what she believes are all sorts of conflicts of interest with the Trump kids. So it's interesting, they're already running damage control on Hunter Biden and the Peter Schweitzer book by trying to muddy up the issue with the Clinton kids.
Oh, any of the Trump kids not paying child support? No, they are. Yeah, okay.
Ladies
get upset about that stuff, Dan.
As well they should, I understand. We'll get Tim O'Brien here, right here.
The Trump family are epic grifters, and this goes back generations. Fred Trump made his money by intersecting with both the federal government and state government in New York. Donald came up through New York, intersecting with local government and in Atlantic City. They are now in the White House, and all of them are dipping their faces into the till. And if the Republicans really want to make an issue out of Hunter Biden, which is very low-hanging fruit that I don't think most Democratic voters care about anyway, there is going to be a scorched earth response aimed at all of the Trump children that is unlike anything they've experienced thus far in the media.
Well, could it be from your former candidate? Because Michael Bloomberg has got a lot of money to spend, and there's a lot of ads you could make on something like
I
that.
think it's an important moment for the American people to be woke about how rampant the financial conflicts of interest are among Trump's children.
Yeah, go after Barron, why don't you? Meanwhile, Trump Jr., speaking with the hacks over at Axios, like Jim Vanderhey, said, I'm happy to debate Hunter Biden. Oh, you want to talk about my record in international business and how I benefited from the Trump name, as did his siblings? We'll talk about it. Full transparency. Let's have a debate. Donald Trump Jr. and Hunter Biden.
That's
How about
spectacular.
Wouldn't it be? It'd be a good undercard. Trump Jr. and Hunter, and then you get to Trump and whoever is going to surrogate for Joe Biden if he's the nominee. David and McCook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. I was wondering if anybody else is concerned about Biden having access to our nuclear codes. And also, could you imagine seeing Biden and Pelosi on an episode of Jeopardy?
Oh, I don't think they'd fare
Thanks,
well on the
David.
Family Feud. I mean, Jeopardy is way out of their league right now.
And Hillary Clinton has made another appearance.
Well, she had that big. Did you watch the Hulu series? Hillary?
No, I did not.
Oh, I have you pegged wrong. I thought for sure you'd spend your Friday night watching that.
But I did indulge a couple of minutes of her with Fareed Zakaria on CNN, where she's gone from the vast right-wing conspiracy of a bygone era to now the vast right-wing echo chamber that is distorting our politics, don't you know?
On Super Tuesday, on Facebook, the single most searched article, or the single most searched news topic was Hillary Clinton's emails.
That's right. I saw that.
What do you make about it?
Well, I'll tell you what I make of it, is that
Can make a brooch,
Fox
pterodactyl.
and the sort of right-wing echo chamber has mastered Facebook, aided and abetted, might I say, by Facebook. So I read that article, and what that said to me was, here at Super Tuesday, the Democrats are trying to decide who they want to nominate against Donald Trump. The coronavirus is spreading. We now have more and more reports from different places in the country, but led by Fox News and Breitbart and others, it's going to be about my emails, a totally, bogus, finished nonsense attack on me, because they know how not only to drive those stories under the radar screen where the mainstream press, like yourself, are covering, what's happening now, but they know how to deliver those stories through the algorithms into the feeds of millions and millions of people. So I begrudgingly give them a lot of credit, because they are shaping a narrative that is part of the messaging around Trump's reelection, around people who challenge Trump, changing the subject all of the time. They're not interested or even worried about Trump saying that the coronavirus is a hoax. They don't want their listeners, their viewers, the people that they're frankly feeding this other narrative to be focused on that.
Boy, isn't she great? Don't you wish she was back in our politics as a nominee for president as part of the Biden ticket? I'll take either. So just understand what she said. One, you've got obviously this Mark Zuckerberg, this big tech acting as a shill for the Trump regime and Trump's candidacy. How hilarious is that? A right-wing echo chamber, all the media that's right, that's center right, up against just a small fraction of the press corps that's left, right? Is that what we're supposed to understand? And then she's complaining about alleged manufactured storylines that are not true, misdirection plays. And she said that Trump called coronavirus a hoax. When did he say that?
Keep telling me that he said that.
When did he say it?
On Saturday, I had two people come up and say they allege it was at a rally that they couldn't tell me what state. The recent rally last week where he said coronavirus is a hoax. And I said, okay, well, let's. And when I was looking up the whole time while I was getting my haircut. By the way, you didn't comment on it. Thank you. The whole time.
Did you get your haircut?
I did.
Yeah, it looks nice.
You know what? Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And looking, and like, I don't see it. I'm still looking.
It's absurd.
An hour later, I was still looking.
Right.
So
the guy that says it's a hoax, he was at CDC on Friday talking about the lethality rate and the information that is being bandied back and forth between experts and discussed on all the Sunday talkies. I mean, it's just Hillary Clinton. Gosh, Hillary Clinton. Boy, I hope they find a place for her in 2020 as an important Biden surrogate, something to remind people of the disdain that the Democrat Socialist Party has for you deplorables. Need to be constantly reminded about it. Joe Biden is obviously sort of asleep at the switch, so he's going to do a bad job of that. And plus, he likes to be, hail fellow, well met. That's his whole shtick. But as long as you have the Hillary Clintons of the world and other detestable figures, people won't forget.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and it's time for reparations.
Reparations for the black communities are bigger than a single check. Reparations are an opportunity to repair the results from the African enslavement, the redlining, the war on drugs, police terrorists, and continued discrimination. It is time for an investment as target as the policies that create our divide. I'm asking you to support the bill I sponsor. Please call your state legislator.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and I've dedicated my life in the service of others. As Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most precious and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? By supporting the reparation bill, I am working for the descendants of slaves to gain generation wealth, education, housing, job, and service for senior citizens. Call your state representative to support this bill. God bless.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
Guys, I want to encourage you to take care of your health. It's easier than you think at Low T Center. They're reinventing the doctor's visit, making it quick and easy to get all of your levels checked, not just your testosterone levels. They offer a comprehensive health assessment so you know all the numbers important to your health. If you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have lack of motivation and drive, have noticed weight gain and loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels, low thyroid, or even sleep apnea. Low T Center will help determine the cause of your symptoms and will help you get back to feeling your best. It all starts with their quick and easy health assessment, and it's covered by most health insurance. If you think you may have sleep apnea, Low T Center offers the convenience of a take-home sleep test with results back in days. Low T Center is concierge medicine exclusively for men. Call my friends at Low T Center today to schedule your health assessment and tell them Dan Proft sent you when you do. 630-451-9352 is the number. That's 630-451-9352. You can also schedule online at lowtcenter.com. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Improving your home? Why not make it easy? Don't miss the Home and Garden Show this weekend at the Tinley Park Convention Center with free admission. This huge 60,000 square foot event features the ultimate in savings and convenience with thousands of the latest home products and services for the freshest ideas to remodel, repair, and beautify your home. Inside and out. Get trusted advice on all your upcoming projects as you speak with experts who will help you with all of your home improvement needs. And be sure to attend the free seminars, live cooking shows, and hourly cash giveaways all weekend long. You'll also see quality indoor and outdoor furniture, home appliances, product demonstrations, a plant sale by Ted's Greenhouse, and so much more. From interiors to exteriors, from decor to outdoor. You'll find it all at the massive Home and Garden Show this weekend at the Tinley Park Convention Center on Harlem Avenue just north of I-80 with free admission and free parking. For details, visit tinleyparkshow.com. That's tinleyparkshow.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
We're talking about Bernie and Biden and Hillary. Brad in the West Loop, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, the reason it was trending on Fox and a lot of other places about Hillary is that Judicial Watch case, they just won for her to get a deposition. A judge ordered it in person, which is the first time.
That's right. Thanks for the call, Brad. I'm glad you circled back to her talking about how it was, and Free Zakaria's question about her trending on Super Tuesday. The other reason is, as we discussed last week, Ron Johnson, Homeland Security chairman in the Senate, talked about an interim report being forthcoming. They're still working through documents, and they're subpoenaing more documents. An interim report on corruption, starting with the Hillary email investigation and going forward to just about present day, certainly to the Russian collusion investigation, with respect to the behavior of the Obama administration and senior leadership at law enforcement and intel agencies during that time period. So, yeah, that's why it was trending, because there's substantive news on the topic, even though Hillary and the left wants to pretend that, there's nothing legitimate to see here or to investigate there. And, of course, that's not true. And good for Ron Johnson and Senate Republicans for continuing to press their work along with the Durham investigation, which is also a pending matter. So, yeah, there are many questions yet to be answered and a couple of important reports yet to be produced that we expect by early summer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
How about that Facebook issue that Hillary Clinton raised? Cameron Hendy asked the question, should Facebook let Donald Trump win in 2020? We'll talk to him at 6:36.
And later, Southwest Airlines does something brilliant to inform us about the coronavirus. and 2 schools closing in the Chicago area. Let's get the latest now from Mike Scott, who joins us from the newsroom.
55 degrees at 6:32. A cruise ship makes a premature return to South Florida, all because of the coronavirus. Princess Cruises confirming last night the CDC has ordered the Caribbean Princess to return to Port Everglades. There is a concern 2 crew members may have come in contact with COVID-19. The CDC wants them to be tested. Key member of the coronavirus task force says right now everybody doesn't need a test for the virus.
That should be something that should be determined by the medical professionals who are administering the test.
Appearing on ABC's This Week, Dr. Ben Carson. People are being tested for the coronavirus around the country, but that doesn't include one of the nation's top health officials.
No, because I have not been at risk.
Speaking to Fox News Sunday, Dr. Anthony Fauci explained why his voice isn't at full strength. He blames a lot of talking done on TV. Wall Street expected to be plagued by coronavirus selling when the markets open today. Voters in 6 states will go to the polls tomorrow. Primaries in Michigan, Missouri, Mississippi, Washington, and Idaho. Former Vice President Joe Biden was in St. Louis.
South Carolina had something to say about that. And then came Super Tuesday. And today there's 11 victories behind us, and we lead in both delegates and the national vote.
Biden in front of a small crowd in front of the St. Louis Arch yesterday. North Dakota, by the way, will hold a Democrat caucus. Oil prices crashing after Saudi Arabia began a price war against Russia on Sunday. U.S. oil prices themselves are down 27% to a 4-year low. 1 person dead, nearly 20 others hurt after a shootout in Cleveland. Police say a total of 18 were shot Saturday night. Meantime, 4 are dead after an apparent murder-suicide that has happened just outside of Houston in Fort Bend County, Texas. Authorities are investigating a deadly shooting at a house party over the weekend at an Airbnb rental in Barrington Hills. 15 are recovering following a CTA bus crash yesterday on Chicago's South Side. A man in critical condition following a fire in Chicago's West Humboldt Park neighborhood. Chicago man in his 60s is the 7th person in Illinois to have tested positive for coronavirus. That case not linked to the recently confirmed case of an employee at Vaughn Occupational High School. And the threat of coronavirus is closing another school. Classes canceled at Wilmette's Loyola Academy for the day. However, teachers are posting today's class assignments online. At 6:34, Chicago sports found the Fighting Illini with a big win in the Big Ten. They closed the Big Ten regular season with a 78-76 win over number 18 Iowa and clinch a 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament and a double bye all the way to Friday of the tournament in Indy. Bradley dancing in the NCAA tournament after winning the Valley tournament in St. Louis. College hoops tonight finds UIC taking on Wright State in the semis of the Horizon League tournament. The news, a service of Lowe's. Do it right to save 5% every day by shopping at Lowe's, in-store or online. Save 5% on eligible purchases just by using your Lowe's Advantage card. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval. Cannot be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only. 6:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher has a theory about the Democrats.
I didn't think Pete Buttigieg finishing 3rd in South Carolina was bad for him. I'm going to throw out a theory. Somebody made him a really good offer. You'll be my vice presidential running mate if you'll drop out now to give me some votes in Super Tuesday. The only person I can think of that would make that kind of offer is Joe Biden.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Do business more powerfully during Dell's semi-annual sale. Save up to 45% on Dell computers and servers with Intel Core processors. It's time for you to upgrade to new modern devices with Windows 10. Also, save on electronics and accessories plus free shipping on everything and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call 877-BUY-DELL to talk to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find just the right tech. That's 877-BUY-DELL or visit Dell.com/business deals.
What gives one company the edge over another? Maybe it's not one thing,
Maybe it's taking care of lots of things that help a business run smoothly. In other words, Cintas. Cintas has products that help your people stay safe and apparel programs that convey the right image. They service fire protection equipment, deliver and stock restroom supplies, and make sure facilities are clean and ready. Because when all those things work together, you're in business.
Oh, I'm ready!
Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
The following is a paid political announcement.
In 2020, we will decide the direction of our nation for decades to come. Do you want more government in your life or more freedom? As a veteran, Jeanne Ives stands on the side of freedom. She took an oath to protect and defend our Constitution. Now, our American values are under attack. Our economic system, the rule of law, and our ability to create and pursue opportunity. In Illinois, Jeanne spent 7 years fighting corruption and reckless spending because every dime government spends comes out of your pocket. In Washington, Ives will fight to balance the budget, defend our borders, grow the economy, and stand in the way of big government policies. You deserve to have your voice heard in Washington, not to be talked down to by elitist politicians in your own backyard. Choose the candidate who works for you. Choose Jeanne Ives for Congress.
I'm Jeanne Ives, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Jeanne for Congress.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it is a fit for you.
6:38, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and Jim Telemonte.
Inbound Ryan traffic is heavier in the express lanes than it is in the locals after an earlier multi-vehicle crash near 31st Street. It's 20 minutes 95th to downtown, but heavier in the express, where the delays start around 59th Street. Edens is tight approaching the junction. It's about a 2-minute delay there starting at Foster. Inbound Kennedy, looking at 25 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 26 and westbound 190 is heavy going into O'Hare. Inbound Eisenhower, it's getting congested through the avenues and from Ogden to the Burns Circle. 33 minutes, 390 to downtown. Inbound Stevenson, crash at Western on the left shoulder. 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. I-57 Bishop Fort with just mild delays. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center forecast. A few morning showers, cloudy, windy, and cooler today. Little rain ramping up this afternoon. Watch out for that. 58 for a high, and rain continues into the overnight. Low 38. 54 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Raj Shah of SC Wealth Advisors.
When you're working, you know where your paycheck's going to be on the 15th and the 30th of the month. But in retirement, you need to do the same thing as you have it structured now to have a solid income coming in the door every single month.
Raj Shah and his team are growing, and the radio show is evolving too. Same interesting insight and advice on your financial health with a new name. Tune in to Unlock Your Wealth, Sunday mornings at 7 here on AM 560, The Answer.
When it's cold outside, you can dress for it. But when your furnace gives out, hey, a blanket fort can only do so much. So call your local 1-hour heating and air conditioning. We'll replace your old furnace with a new high-efficiency one. And that beats a bunch of blankets any day. Right now, cozy up to big savings on a complete heating system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we were talking about Hillary along with Biden and the Bolshevik before Mike Scott's newscast. Did you see this? Hillary on Thursday night was on Andy Cohen's show on Bravo. That's
I know, I can't watch that show.
Yeah,
That's unwatchable.
And she did a shot ski.
The shot ski?
She and another woman, you know what that is?
Right. You have a ski and you put shots on the ski, and then everybody tips it back together. And
of course, you know
do
what it is.
Well, you do a lot in snowboarding communities. Like Park City is the first time I did the
Oh,
shop ski.
sure, of course.
Back in
Park
2000,
City,
and
Aspen, sure.
Breckenridge, I
Yeah,
did one.
of course. All the
No, I was
all
there
the
for
high
the Olympics
society
for a month. I
spots.
didn't, you buy and I'm flying.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, we did shot skis all the time. But that's so hip.
Oh,
It's so 2000, actually.
It had all the authenticity of Elizabeth Warren ordering a brewski. I mean, those septuagenarian pea hats.
They like
I
to
mean, they
party.
are fun, aren't they?
They're party.
So
what kind of shot was
fun.
it? Whiskey? Was it? We don't know.
I don't know.
A man's drink.
I can barely muster the energy to mention it. For more on the 2020 race, of course, that's what we were talking about more generally, with Bernie poised to make his last stand in Michigan, perhaps tomorrow. We're pleased to be joined by Cameron Hendy, who's a freelance commentator living in Melbourne, Australia. Do you want to do your Dumb and Dumber impersonation?
No.
Put another shrimp on the Barbie. Do you want to do it?
Put another shrimp on the Barbie.
All right. Now that we've insulted our guest, Cameron Hendy, freelance commentator in Melbourne, Australia. He's got a couple of good pieces, a Spectator as well as an Arrow magazine, want to discuss. Cameron, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's nice to be on.
So one of the pieces from you that was particularly provocative, good reminder. It's nice to have institutional memory in our media. Was a reminder about some of those individuals who were invoking the 25th Amendment and suggesting that President Trump was unfit for office, and that could be one path to impeachment. He's just doesn't have the mental acuity for the office. And despite what we've seen from Joe Biden in this campaign thus far, no such concerns, no such 25th Amendment concerns about the former vice president.
Yeah, it's really funny to me because I think you see a lot of things that relate to media bias that I view it as a personal thing. We all have biases, and I think we all apply different standards to people depending on whether or not we like them. I think Biden is probably the litmus test that's exposing a lot of the commentators that support him in 2020 based on what they said, especially about Trump. I remember people having a lot of fun when Kim Jong-un called Trump a dotard. I think if you guys remember that, I think the definition of that is too physically weak or mental faculties have declined. So Biden, if you watch him on stage, it's pretty clear that he's not all there. And I think especially for someone who's been in public life for a very long time, there's plenty of videos and vision of him in the past where he's obviously more coherent and cogent than he is now.
Yeah, but are people in Australia, though, talking about Joe Biden, wondering what happened to him?
Well, it's funny. We love U.S. politics more than our own because it's very boring conservative politics in general in Australia. And I think the U.S. race and the spectacle of the elections is something far beyond what we have. The funny thing, I saw a live Bernie rally on Sky News in Australia, which is still Rupert Murdoch, but we're not discussing Biden as we should be, and I think it should be more concerning to most Australians given the state that he's in.
Yeah, well, that discussion will turn to Biden if he dispatches Bernie over the next couple of primary election days, tomorrow and next Tuesday, I suspect. But I wanted to get your reaction or your explanation as well to this piece that you wrote for Arrow magazine about Facebook and Trump, because this is something that Hillary Clinton took up over the weekend with Fareed Zakaria, as we played before you came on the program, complaining about Facebook not doing enough to root out Trump, what she would term Trump propaganda, the vast right-wing echo chamber, and all of these sorts of things. Suggesting that Facebook is a collaborator with Trump's reelection. And you asked the question and run through a rationale. Should Facebook let Donald Trump win in 2020? I mean, that starts from the premise that it's Facebook's decision whether or not he wins. But I think you mean, should Facebook let him access the platform like the campaign wants to access the platform? And then you go through that rationale.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a complex issue because obviously Trump was hugely successful on Facebook in 2016. And I think it's only now people are starting to appreciate, especially on the Democratic side, why he was so successful. So the Facebook ad executive at the time gave a pretty succinct quote as to why, and he said, it wasn't Russia, it wasn't meddling, it wasn't anything like this. Trump just ran the best digital ad campaign we've ever seen on the platform. And I did a bit of research into that. He's got his campaign manager now, Brad Pascal, who's head of digital media, I believe, during the 2016 campaign. And this guy's effectively found that you can use Facebook tools, which are available to anyone who wants to use them, to find people who believe in certain things, and you can serve them up content that reflects the things that they already believe in. And you can make people more likely to form an opinion or to do something, which is obviously the point of all advertising. But I think the Trump campaign in particular found a really good way to use Facebook to encourage people to vote or to encourage them not to vote if they're Democrats.
And the Trump campaign.
This is the thing.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
the Trump campaign in 2016, they used, immigration, healthcare, treatment of veterans, and they made the Democratic Party, I think, look unpatriotic.
Yes, well, I think to a certain extent it's hard to argue that the Democratic Party is patriotic on a lot of those issues. I think people find it pretty upsetting to think that their tax money, in effect, if they're paying a lot of tax, is going towards providing services for people who enter the country illegally. This is obviously very emotive for a lot of people, and they're going to find it pretty hard to deal with when the Democrats arguing that should be the case. I think Trump had a good platform in the absence of Facebook. The Facebook tools that he accessed and used were fantastic, and they gave him exactly what he needed, which was to find people who had concerns about things such as veteran affairs, immigration, and to really go after them and to let people know that he was focusing on those subjects. And I think in the article I talked about, they would find out certain places they were traveling to what the most important issues in those locations were, and talk about that stuff in his rallies. So he's obviously fantastic at giving rallies. They look like they're a lot of fun to attend. His team would know in advance what people at the rally would be interested in, and they would talk about that stuff. And I think it's far beyond anything any Democrat is doing, and probably has the capabilities doing, withstanding Michael Bloomberg's money if he decides to put him in.
Well, there's the other thing, too. There's the one word that you raise when it comes to the 25th Amendment discussion, which is applicable here with big tech, and that's hypocrisy. So you have Google and Twitter, particularly Google, clearly in the tank for the left and sort of openly and notoriously saying as much. And then you have Facebook that's essentially trying to play it down the middle for business reasons. Mark Zuckerberg, hardly a man of the right. And Facebook actually has already regulated some Trump content. There was the story last week that it took down some Trump campaign ads that related to the census. And so you get Hillary Clinton whining about Facebook not essentially deplatforming Trump messages, while at the same time they have no problem with Twitter and Google and other big tech being completely in the tank for the Democrats.
Yeah, well, I think it's almost a really good example to see the difference in Twitter and Facebook, because Jack Dorsey was pretty unequivocal in saying Twitter is out of politics. We won't support any political advertising, which is something which seems to affect conservatives more, given the way that conservative advertising seems to be more successful recently. But it's funny to see that I was never a fan of Mark Zuckerberg personally. I thought he was probably going the same way for all of these Silicon Valley companies, in the sense that they had a soft liberal bias that would over time solidify itself. But I'm on his side for this decision to keep political advertising and to stop having a fact check in-house, if you will. I think it's going to be one of those things that will seem pretty formative, probably at least the last couple of years. And I'm not sure how many election cycles this will go on for, but the fact that Trump and Brad Pascal and his campaign can continue to use the Facebook tools in the platform is going to be massively important to him, I think, especially for this current election.
He is Cameron Hendy, freelance commentator living in Melbourne, Australia, and author of a couple pieces I'll tweet out, one at spectator.us, the other at aerialmagazine.com. Cameron, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me again.
Thanks, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Keith Peters in for Lou Dobbs. Hotel bookings dropped like a rock in Spain. California requiring women be added to boards of directors. And J.P. Morgan Chase CEO on the mend. Those stories next.
In a recent survey, investors shared what they felt were the greatest threats to their retirement. It's no surprise the most common threats include stock market volatility, economic uncertainty, conflict in the Middle East, the 2020 presidential impeachment, and election. Unfortunately, there are many threats beyond your control that can affect your retirement savings. At Goldco, a leader in precious metals, the team believes one way to protect your investment portfolio is with physical gold and silver. Goldco has helped thousands of investors safeguard their retirement, especially in times of uncertainty. In fact, if you call 855-971-2006, Goldco will send you a free 1-ounce silver American Eagle coin. And all you have to do is pay for shipping and handling. No obligation. 100% free. Call 855-971-2006 to get your free silver American Eagle coin. That's 855-971-2006.
As the global economy continues reeling from the impact of the coronavirus, in Spain, hotel bookings have fallen by over 40% and are stunning the Eurozone's fourth largest economy. Tourism accounts for 12% of Spain's GDP, and tourism officials are worried about a disastrous Easter holiday period. The state of California has lost many large businesses, including Toyota's headquarters to Texas, as owners seek fewer regulations and lower taxes. But legislators have plowed ahead anyway with requirements that public companies based in the Golden State must have at least one female on their board of directors. J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon turned 64 this week. The head of America's largest bank is recovering from emergency heart surgery and is said to be doing well. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Believe it or not, but spring is right around the corner, that is. So how are you going to shed the winter weight that you've put on? If you aren't sure or just need to try something different this year, then it's time you call NJ Diet. With NJ Diet, you can lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 50 pounds in only 40 days. That's right, 20 to 50 pounds contractually guaranteed in 40 days. NJ Diet's doctor-supervised program utilizes bioengineerically Okay. If you say so. Personalized supplements based on your hair, saliva, and blood work. NJ Diet also uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet plan and workout regimen to help you keep the weight off for the rest of your life. NJ Diet is a hormone-balancing detoxification system that evaluates and targets each individual's personal needs and then balances hormones where the side effect is weight loss. Doctor supervision is provided every step of the way, and you even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. NJ Diet is all natural, no shots, no hormones, and no surgery. Call today to learn how you can lose 20 to 50 pounds plus in only 40 days, contractually guaranteed. That's 855-5NJ-DIET is the number. Again, that number, 855-5NJ-DIET, or go to njdiet.com, njdiet.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Jim Oberweis is the conservative leader we know and trust, and he gets results. Jim Oberweis has raised millions of dollars to help conservatives across Illinois fight Mike Madigan and the Chicago Democrats. As a state senator, Jim Oberweis has never voted for a tax increase and never will. Jim Oberweis is the only candidate to stand up and fight against Dick Durbin and the D.C. swamp, beating Dick Durbin in each county in the 14th district. Jim Oberweis fought to stop J.B. Pritzker's liberal agenda and strongly opposes Pritzker's graduated income tax. Jim Oberweis is the conservative leader we need to beat Nancy Pelosi and Lauren Underwood. Jim Oberweis stands with President Trump and will vote to fund and build the wall. If you want to support President Trump, stop the liberals, and keep America great, you need to vote for conservative leader Jim Oberweis in the Republican primary on March 17th.
I'm Jim Oberweis, and I approve this message.
I know with Northridge Prep, I won't have invented words. This is copy I approved.
Yes.
Jeez, oh my gosh. Woo. All right. Good luck. Picture your son and the kind of man you hope he becomes, a strong father and a man of deep faith and a great professional. Northridge Prep builds that kind of man at an open house on Sunday, April 5th. See why my friends are among the families from 74 Chicagoland zip codes that chose Northridge Prep. They have it all at Northridge Prep. Teachers there are role models, challenging students through a demanding curriculum, through championship-winning athletics programs, and through electives like business and bioethics. It's the #1 all-boys and #4 best Catholic school in Illinois and sends students to some of the best universities in the U.S. each year. Students leave Northridge Prep ready to make a real impact. If your son is entering grades 6 through 12 and you want him to be an intellectual assassin, I urge you to visit Northridge Prep's open house on Sunday, April 5th. Register online at northridgeprep.org. That's northridgeprep.org.
The following is a paid political announcement.
A former Notre Dame kicker, Ted Grotto, hits the mark every time. Grotto's a successful businessman and has never run for office like President Trump, so he isn't owned by insiders and lobbyists. Ted Grotto wants to break up Mike Madigan's and Governor Pritzker's political machine that's ruining our state. Ted Grotto supports freezing Illinois' property taxes and cutting gas taxes. And in Congress, Ted Grotto wants to make the Trump tax cuts permanent, build the border wall, and pass term limits to kick career politicians out in both parties. It takes a conservative outsider businessman like Ted Grotto to help President Trump. Join Ted Grotto's team. Give corrupt politics and liberal elites the boot. And give America the win.
I'm Ted Grotto, and I approve this message because I kicked footballs in college, and I'll kick tails in Congress.
Trump Republican conservative businessman. Ted Grotto for Congress. Paid for by Ted Grotto for Congress.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, this is weird to me. Posters hanging in the restrooms of about a dozen bars and restaurants in Boca Raton, Fort Lauderdale, and Jupiter give instructions to women about alerting bartenders if they're in danger or uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know what it is.
The owl shot.
I teased that earlier. Like, can I have an owl shot, please? It means help me.
Well, yeah, okay. So you order the owl shot. If you order it neat, the bar staff will escort you to your car. If you order it on the rocks, the bar staff will call a ride for you. If you order it with lime, the bar staff will call the police. I don't understand this. You're in a public place.
Right.
Why can't you just say, this guy's bothering me? To the bar staff, to the bouncer, to whoever.
Or to even the guy himself, like, buzz off, and if you don't,
right,
this guy, the bartender, is going to walk me out. Instead, the secret code of, remember, neat, they'll escort you to your car. On the rocks, they'll call you a ride, and with lime means call the police.
No, don't remember. If you're being harassed in some way, then notify in a public place with other people around, then go ahead and tell somebody. This is just stupid, isn't it?
Well, they say, college students who find themselves, on a date gone wrong, sometimes it's uncomfortable for them to, or they feel unsafe that maybe he'll come back, follow them to their dorm later.
But they won't feel unsafe with some coded message for them to call police. Well, where did that come from? This is stupid. People are nuts.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
Jim Carafano joins us for COVID-19 talk at 7:07.
But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
A deadly shooting at a house party at an Airbnb in Barrington Hills. WIND, Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
They're coming ashore. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. But passengers on a cruise ship off Oakland, California will be quarantined to keep them from infecting any more people with coronavirus. Here's Fox's Evan Brown.
Chris, nearly 700 California residents on board will be taken to either Travis Air Force Base or Miramar Naval Air Station. Other U.S. citizens will be taken to Texas or Georgia. Foreign nationals will be flown to their home countries for quarantine. A second Princess cruise ship, Regal Princess, was allowed to dock in Florida this weekend after crew members who transferred in from the one in California tested negative. Chris?
Evan, thank you. Stock markets around the world are down today, due in part to the coronavirus outbreak and a price war in the oil market. Jackson Wong's asset management director at Amber Hill Capital.
First of all, the sharp drop of the oil prices had a lot of investors worried that the economy is going down.
Dow futures down 1,255 points ahead of the opening bell on Wall Street. Another endorsement for Joe Biden from a former Democratic Party presidential candidate, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, writing in a statement, Democrats need a nominee who understands that the way to beat Donald Trump is to bring people together. The North Korean military test fires 3 short-range projectiles into the water off its east coast toward Japan.
That's the latest act of aggression. It comes 2 days after the rogue nation promised momentous action. Nuclear negotiations between North Korea and the U.S. collapsed last year. U.S. officials say that the launch was not unexpected.
That's Fox's Aisha Hosni. A SpaceX cargo ship has arrived at the International Space Station a while ago with a load of gear and food, including grapefruit and tomatoes and candy like Skittles and Reese's. This is the 20th and final planned trip for this kind of SpaceX Dragon capsule. The next versions are designed to carry cargo or crew and they'll dock automatically instead of being held by a robot arm. America's listening to Fox News.
In Chicago, 50 degrees. 7:02 is our time on AM 560, The Answer. And good morning, I'm Mike Scott. Authorities continue investigating a deadly shooting at a house party over the weekend at an Airbnb rental in Barrington Hills. Officers found an unresponsive man in the 300 block of Old Sutton Road. Cook County Medical Examiner's Office says the man died from multiple gunshot wounds. 15 are recovering following a CTA bus crash on Chicago's south side. The bus was traveling on Cottage Grove Avenue yesterday when it was struck near 69th Street. A man in critical condition following a fire in Chicago's West Humboldt Park neighborhood. Blaze broke out in the attic of a two-flat in the 1400 block of North Keeler. A man in his 60s is the seventh person in Illinois to have tested positive for coronavirus. The case is not linked to a recently confirmed case involving an employee at Vaughn Occupational High School on the northwest side. The threat of coronavirus is also closing another school, the second one in a week. Classes are canceled on campus at Wilmette's Loyola Academy today. However, teachers are posting all Monday assignments online. The Reverend Jesse Jackson is throwing his support behind Democrat presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders.
I stand with Bernie Sanders today because he stood with me. I stand with him because he's never lost his taste for justice for the people.
Jackson announcing his endorsement in Michigan ahead of a pivotal primary there. On the same day, the former civil rights leader appeared at a Sanders rally. Kofi Coburn blocking Iowa Senator Luke Garza's shot at the buzzer, sealing a number 23 Illinois' win, 78-76 over the Hawkeyes of Iowa in Champaign. Because of that win, the Illini clinch a 4 seed in the 2020 Big Ten tournament and double bye into Friday's games of the tournament in Indy. Bradley going to the NCAA tournament again for winning the Missouri Valley tournament in St. Louis. Jake Allen, 29 saves, and the Blues 2-0 win over the Blackhawks. Nets hold on to beat the Bulls. The news service of Cook County. Census is a questionnaire that counts everyone living at your address on April 1st. Look for an invitation in the mail in March and complete it online, by phone, or by mail. In Cook County, we all count. Be counted in the 2020 census. 7:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
I've been talking about this risk of coronavirus for weeks.
Steve Cortez.
I think that it's looking increasingly not only possible, but probable that at least parts of the United States will end up in those kinds of situations where school is closed, where mass gatherings are restricted. I think that is not just possible, but probable.
The Steve Cortez Show, weeknights at 5, right before Larry Elder at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of nature, changing the world one life at a time.
It's like night and day, actually, really. When you take this, you hear all these wonderful parables on the radio, but until you do it, you realize that they know what they're talking about, and it's true, because everything is better, as far as I'm concerned anyway. So, in fact, a friend of mine called me today, and she said, "Oh, you just went to Pilates. Maybe you're tired. You don't want to go to lunch." I said, "I'm never tired. I take Balance of Nature."
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Jim Oberweis pretends to be a conservative, but look at his record.
The truth? Jim Oberweis has repeatedly betrayed conservatives. When Mike Madigan raised taxes on middle-class families by $1,200 a year, Oberweis didn't even show up to vote against Madigan's taxes.
Worse, Oberweis personally attacked President Donald Trump, calling Trump a fad that will eventually fade.
Oberweis opposed securing the border by building a bigger, stronger border wall. That's right. Jim Oberweis was against a wall like the one President Trump is building to protect us.
And Jim Oberweis even compared pro-lifers to Taliban terrorists. Over and over again, Jim Oberweis betrays conservatives and President Trump.
Higher taxes, personally attacking President Donald Trump, and comparing pro-lifers to terrorists. That's the real Jim Oberweis.
Reject Jim Oberweis. He's not a real conservative. Illinois Conservatives PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. IllinoisConservativesPAC.com.
Do it right to save 5% every day by shopping at Lowe's in-store or online. Save 5% on eligible purchases just by using your Lowe's Advantage card. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval, cannot be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
7:07. Check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Rain is slowing the commute, especially south and west of Chicago, eastbound I-80. Seeing delays, bridge to past Cherry Hill and westbound LaGrange Road before Wolf. 80-94 westbound before Torrance. Crash in the right lane. 88 Reagan Tollway eastbound traffic slow and soggy. Farnsworth to Eola. Northbound Tri-State delays are Plainfield Road to Ogden and from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Eden's 20 minutes like Cook to Montrose. Kennedy, 30 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 26. The Eisenhower, it's 36 minutes 390 to downtown, outbound 32. Inbound Stevenson with a crash at Western on the left side. It's 45 minutes 355 to the drive. The Ryan, 27 minutes from 95th. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. From our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, we're seeing a few morning showers and a little fog across the area. Windy, cooler with rain this afternoon as well. High 58. 49 at O'Hare, 52 Lakefront, 50 in rain at Midway. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, over the weekend, the administration's representatives, Trump administration's representatives, were pretty consistent about their assessment of the lethality, the projected lethality of coronavirus, as well as the steps that were being taken to contain in some respects and more the case now, mitigate in others. And part of the problem is the decentralized federalist system of governance we have. So some states have declared states of emergency and other states haven't. Some localities are seeing more of an outbreak than other localities. And so it's not just a federal response, but it's also a state and local response.
Yeah, New York declared a state of emergency. They have 89 cases there. And Governor Cuomo was quick to rip on the CDC and the Trump administration.
CDC is a bottleneck for this nation in doing the testing. I believe the CDC was caught flat-footed. I believe they're slow in their response, and I believe they're slowing down the state.
Well, this is something that Scott Gottlieb, the former FDA director in the Trump administration, suggested weeks ago, which is allow for lab-developed tests at the local level, the local healthcare level in this country.
And we have 3 here: Chicago, Springfield, and Carbondale.
Gottlieb was on with Face the Nation over the weekend, and he painted a little bit more dire of circumstances than did some of the Trump administration officials current.
The next 2 weeks are really going to change the complexion in this country. We'll get through this, but it's going to be a hard period. We're looking at 2 months probably of difficulty. To give you a basis of comparison, 2 weeks ago, Italy had 9 cases. 95% of all their cases have been diagnosed in the last 10 days. For South Korea, 85% of all their cases have been diagnosed in the last 10 days. We're entering that period right now of rapid acceleration. And the sooner we can implement tough mitigation steps in places where we have outbreaks like Seattle, the lower the scope of the epidemic here.
Well, and that also takes coordinated federal, state, local response rather than people, jawboning to score political points like Cuomo tried to do. Gottlieb explaining, this is a struggle for a country that's a free society in dealing with something when you have power decentralized.
no state and no city wants to be the first to basically shut down their economy, but that's what's going to need to happen. States and cities are going to have to act in the interest of the national interest right now to prevent a broader epidemic.
Shut down their economy. You mean
close businesses, close large gatherings, close theaters, cancel events. I think we need to think about how do we provide assistance to the people of these cities who are going to be hit by hardship, as well as the localities themselves, to try to give them an incentive to do this. Right now, if there's no economic support to do this, you don't want to be the first to go. And I think you're seeing that. This exposes one of the challenges of our federal system, that we leave a lot of authority to state and local officials. And there's good reasons why. But in a situation like this, where you want them to act not just in their local interests, but the national interests, I think we need to think about both trying to coerce them, we can't force them, but also try to provide some incentives in terms of support. And we're going to end up with a very big federal bailout package here for stricken businesses, individuals, cities and states. We're better off doing it up front and giving assistance to get them to do the right things than do it on the back end after we've had a very big epidemic.
Well, that's an easy thing to say. It's a difficult thing to quantify. You know, how big should the bailout package up front be, Scott? I mean, you just had $8.5 billion allocated. How much more is needed, and for what exactly? How do you predict the economic impact of this when you don't even have you can't predict at this point the denominator? See, this is why, everybody trying to score political points are charlatans. Those people are charlatans because they don't know.
Well, it's like the Democrats are cheering for people to die and for the economy and the stock market to tank so that they could stick it to Trump and blame him for this and his administration. And I don't like that at all.
And Gottlieb also talked a little bit about the lethality rate, too, after talking about, the challenges with a systemic response, federal-driven response.
There's no systematic plan for when a city should close schools, when they should tell businesses that they have to telework, when they should close movie theaters and cancel large gatherings. We leave these decisions to local officials, but we really should have a comprehensive plan in terms of recommendations to cities and in some support from the federal government for cities that make that step, make that leap, if you will. And the case fatality rate here is going to be higher all through the age ranges. This is a more severe disease. Now, it's true that you don't see the full spectrum of disease that you see with the flu, where some people get a mild disease, some people get a moderate disease, some people get more severe disease. Here, you're seeing a more binary response. Some people get mild and moderate disease, and some people get very sick. But for the people who get very sick, this could be a very dangerous disease. The case fatality rate is probably going to be about 1%. And it's not just older Americans, as tragic as that is, and we shouldn't dismiss the burden that this is going to place on older Americans. If you look at 40-year-olds, the case fatality rate has been anywhere between 0.2 and 0.4%. So that means as many as 1 in 250 40 to 50-year-olds who get this could die from it.
And this data is based on what? On China?
This data is based on
South Korea?
reporting out of South Korea and China.
Right.
Yeah, but South Korea and China, China, their air quality is horrific. Their healthcare system is abysmal. I mean, you can't even compare that to us.
That's what the follow-up should have been from Brennan to him about, so this is based on that data coming out of China. But what about largely, because that's where most of the cases are. I mean, there's 100,000 cases globally, just over, allegedly, and more than 80,000 of those come from China, if you even believe those numbers. And this was the point that Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams made on Tapper.
Some parts of the country are having much more severe flu seasons. Some are having very mild flu seasons. The same thing for coronavirus. So you want to first try to keep it out of your community. Once you know it's in your community, you want to take the steps to prevent spread within the community and to keep those most at risk safe. And a very important point here, we now know more about who is at risk. Average age of death for people from coronavirus is 80. Average age of people who need medical attention is age 60. We want people who are older, people who have medical conditions, to take steps to protect themselves, including avoiding crowded spaces, including thinking very carefully about whether or not now's the time to get on that cruise ship and whether now's the time to take that long-haul flight.
For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano, Vice President of the Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation, and author of books including Wiki at War and Private Sector Public Wars. Jim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good to be with you.
So how do you assess the coordinated response from the federal government so far, as well as the challenges that Dr. Gottlieb raised about, the decentralized nature of our federal system?
Yeah, well, I really take objection to the notion that we should have a much more centralized system. Actually, we did in 1917, and that actually contributed significantly to the spreading of the Spanish flu, because we took one set of directions and it was actually took us in the wrong direction. I actually think that the decentralized response in the U.S. is actually a strength. So I completely disagree with that. Look, we're 320 million people, literally without internal borders. The notion of mass quarantine, I just don't know how that makes any logical sense. And in short, what we've actually seen where people have gone to mass quarantine, what you wind up doing is you isolate healthy and sick people together, and you just ensure that the healthy people get sick. So I thought that was, to be honest, just a lot of baloney from somebody who was supposed to be a public health expert.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit taken aback by what Gottlieb had to say as well, because I think otherwise he's made a lot of sense on a range of healthcare issues over the years. But he's painting a lot more dire picture than, say, the Surgeon General or Admiral Brett Giroir, who is a four-star admiral and the Assistant Secretary of HHS, who talked about what they estimate to be the lethality rate and a little bit about the containment approach as well. And it seems to me that's where the federal response should be focused.
It does seem. I mean, the more we get real solid numbers about cases that are more analogous to us, societies with more modern healthcare systems, it doesn't seem to be that dramatically different than the regular flu season. And in a sense, I think a lot of these recommendations are responses that would do more harm to society than the disease itself. I think this, people keep saying we should probably talk about something we understand more, which is how does this play out in people's credibility and understandability of government. People say this is Trump's Katrina. The problem with that is before Bush had a Katrina, he had an Iraq war. And people had already come off the Iraq war deeply skeptical about the administration. And so they were primed. And the other thing you had in Katrina was a lot of physical damage and destruction that people could see. I mean, there's an argument whether Bush actually did anything wrong in Katrina at all. But that wasn't the point. Is everybody blamed him with that. We don't have those dynamics here. Trump hasn't had a big failure, so his credibility, it hasn't been questioned before. And in all likelihood, most of this will be highly transitory. The flu season will come to an end. The stock market will rebound. People will buy up a bunch of cheap oil now, and they'll have it later. And by the time that we're into, when people sit down and they start thinking about who do I want to vote for president, which is September, October, I mean, there may be something else that distracts them and angers them, but likely this will be something in the distant past.
James, it's a crazy question, but is somebody playing the stand-up bass behind you by any chance?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. We're having some construction here at the Heritage Foundation.
Okay.
So occasionally it sounds like I'm in the middle of a dentist's office.
Oh,
and it just stopped.
Like the
Sorry
bass.
about that.
Oh, no, it's okay. All right, so we have two schools closed here in Chicago. One's a private Catholic school. The other one's a public school for special needs students. Do you think that's too much to do at this point in time? I mean, one, the teacher's aide did contract coronavirus, and in the other case, it's just somebody who came in contact with somebody who has contracted the coronavirus, a student.
Well, I mean, I think this is why we let local people make their decisions and evaluate the risks and decide what they want to do. In some case, you might have low risk, but you might decide shutting down for a couple of days. Makes perfect sense. My guess is as we proliferate testing, we'll probably find the disease is more widespread than we thought. But the point is that's because a lot of the people that might test positive actually have very mild cases. And the other thing is we're going to wind up doing is we're going to test a whole bunch of people who don't have it, just because if they've got the flu or just they touched somebody who had, a flu, they're going to want to get tested. So, but that's okay too. I mean, there isn't, sometimes people think there's an exact right things to do, which will make all the problems go away. And a lot of big complicated things, particularly in public health issues, there isn't. The answer is it's going to be a little messy. We're going to get through it fine.
It's interesting, just going back to what you said too about faith in government. So some of the skeptics about the central government and central planners and federal response, generally speaking, in crisis, when they sort of lose their bearings and and then their feet are no longer firmly planted on the ground, they look to the government. And so I like that you raised that, because it's an opportunity to take a step back and wait a second. This is a federal government you don't think is very good based on all kinds of good reasons, like the evidence. very good at social engineering, very good at knowing just how to calibrate the interactions between 330 million people. But here we default to the federal government, and then those corporate entities that are, of course, easy targets and the subjects of being pilloried all the time, like big pharma companies. We're pressing to come up with the innovations for antiviral treatments and vaccines.
So, I mean, the federal government should focus on the things the federal government does well. And so a good example of that is, what do you do about borders? What do you do about travelers coming from overseas? They've actually done really good about that stuff, quarantining people coming from overseas. What goes on in state and local communities largely should be the purview of state and public health officials. And then if they need backstop from state and the federal government, then you provide that. It's a good system. It serves us well. And I just, people that essentially have this compulsion that they want everything centralized. They just use incidents like this to kind of push the argument. It's the old Rahm Emanuel never let a crisis go to waste argument.
What about the some this is proposals that have been bandied about going back to all the previous viruses over the last 2 decades, but things like decentralizing supplies of antivirals for more timely distribution, incentivizing through prizes effective vaccines, relax liability laws for vaccine makers, use mass transit for distribution of supplies that are scarce when there's a run on whatever, clean wipes to toilet paper to food. What about some of those proposals? Do they have any?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why a lot of those things were never adapted. And that's because once people got through the crisis and they said, okay, let's look at these ideas, they said, well, gee, they're not very efficacious. People that come up with crazy ideas in the middle of a crisis, usually there's a reason for that. They're just crazy ideas.
Yeah, and do you think the Trump administration is on the same page? Are they sending mixed messages?
Well, people can look for mixed messages because that's the nature of the partisan gotcha game that we have. And also people do that in crisis. They want to find inconsistencies so they can have things to complain about. And I think that's largely what we see here. I think the administration response has been largely professional, largely in line what we should expect, and largely effective. I mean, I think you could argue that they should have gotten testing out faster. But they also needed higher, I think, efficacy and confidence in their testing because a lot of the early testing stuff wasn't actually very effective. So it wouldn't have been terribly helpful. For testing a bunch of people with tests that you weren't 100% sure are accurate doesn't get you very far.
All right, Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano, Vice President of the Catherine Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation. We'll let you get back to power sawing those renovations at Heritage. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, sounds like the bass. Peyton plays the bass. So like,
nobody, Carafano, West Point grad, he knows how to operate a bandsaw.
He does, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Stop the hammering.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and it's time for reparations. Reparations for the black communities are bigger than a single check. Reparations are an opportunity to repair the results from the African enslavement, the Red Line, the war on drugs, police terror, and continued discrimination. It is time for an investment as target as the policies that create our divide. I'm asking you to support the bill I sponsor. Please call your state legislator.
Paid for by drwillywilsonfoundation.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and I've dedicated my life in the service of others. As Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most pressing and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? By supporting the reparation bill, I am working for the descendants of slaves to gain generation wealth, education, housing, jobs, and service for senior citizens. Call your state representative to support this bill. God bless.
Paid for by drwillywilsonfoundation.org.
I'm doing it in a half hour. I always take my balance of nature around this time every morning. 6 capsules, that's it. And with that, you get 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. It really is amazing. It helps boost your immune system if you eat well, and that means getting enough fruits and veggies in your diet, which I know you're not doing on your own. And that is where Balance of Nature comes in. Let's do this together. Have a healthy 2020. Many people have come up to me. They tell me their own Balance of Nature stories. I remember I was at at the gym, and this man came up to me and said he's been taking Balance of Nature for 5 years, has not gotten sick in 5 years. And he said he doesn't feel any older. He feels like he still felt like 50 at 55, which is a huge statement. So try it out for yourself. Right now, Balance of Nature offering free shipping and 35% off any new preferred orders of fruits and veggies. Here's what you do. Call one of their coaches or operators, 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or simply go to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
Families collapsing, marriages seemingly without purpose, youth professing no faith at all, our so-called nuns. How to rebuild. Scripture teaches that the family is the domestic church, the key to faith formation, to a rational and purposeful life. Relying on deep dives into 21st century data analytics and best practices in relationship ministry, Communio's John Paul DeGance argues that more and better marriage preparation and replenishing the grace in marriages already entered into can rebuild broken relationships, broken families, and even broken communities, with astounding results. On March 13th, the Catholic Citizens Forum Luncheon presents J.P. DeGance on Restoring the Domestic Church, How to Rebuild Failing Marriages, Families, and Communities. To make your reservation, go to CatholicCitizens.org. That's CatholicCitizens.org. Or call Maureen at 708-352-5834. Space is limited. Reserve now.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, and if more network affiliate newscasts were like NY Good Day, New York Good Day, I might start watching. Listen to this exchange between anchor and reporter. So the reporter out in the field is covering some dispute between a tenant and a landlord.
Deadline. As far as working, doing elevator repairs 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, I don't see that as being a typical process, nor is it a typical process to be working on.
We've got to go now. I want to thank you both. Thank you. All right, it's back to you, Jim.
Ollie, don't let her go away. That's what. Does she have a response to that? Is she still there?
What's that?
Did the lady just leave?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. We should have kept that discussion.
She's back if you want her.
Yes.
She heard you.
Yes.
What'd you like to know?
I would like to know a response to what the gentleman said. The gentleman's a very effective spokesperson for the company, but obviously the people who live there are not satisfied with his explanation.
Right. So what do you want now?
Well, if I have to teach you how to be a reporter, Ollie, I'll do that later.
Oh, why don't you do that later, Jim? I think the lady expressed herself, and you're not here, you're there. Is there any question you'd like me to ask her?
No, I'll give you lessons on how to become a reporter later.
I'll give you some lessons on how to be an editor, because I was your boss once.
Yeah, you were, and are no longer. How did that happen?
Well, I don't know.
Here's Aaron Bildermillo.
Good morning. And that happened between Jim Ryan and Dick Oliver, and that was from 2014. And Dick Oliver has since passed, but those two hate each other, and everybody thought when they got back to the newsroom they were going to get in a fist fight. So the news director had to come in and stop.
It's classic, and it is timeless because of how network affiliates are covering coronavirus and everything else today. So classic is it spawned a character on SNL that not too long ago.
That's right.
Herb Welch. This is Bill Hader as yeah, that's right. Don't I have that right? Herb Welch.
No, Jim Ryan and Dick Oliver from Fox. Oh,
the character on Saturday Night Live, and so this is Bill Hader parroting those guys doing Herb Welch, and this was about ice falling off a building. The kind of stories you get on network affiliate newscasts.
Back to you, Jack.
No, Herb, stay on topic, Herb. Okay? What? Stay on topic. Ask your source if anyone's been injured or something like that.
Don't direct me, you tie rack. All right, hey, who's injured?
No one, thank God. It's only a matter of time before someone is hurt or worse.
You think this Belafonte kid ought to, pipe down? Got me in the mouth.
Herb, have residents lodged a formal complaint with the co-op board?
Oh, this lady.
Herb, ask her.
Shouldn't you be changing hotel linen somewhere?
No, Herb. Wanda is a respected journalist. Now ask the question.
You stink on ice.
Oh my
Bill
God.
Hader's a funny guy. That was a great character, a great bit.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
In a special edition of Campus Beat, Mary Grabar, Executive Director of Dissident Prof and author of Debunking Howard's End, joins us.
And coronavirus victim number 5 speaks out again. He says it's really not that bad. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
48 degrees at 7:31. The Grand Princess cruise ship. There's 21 on board with the coronavirus, expected to arrive in Oakland today. Governor Gavin Newsom there says the port is being prepared, the area is secured, and quarantines are ready. Federal health officials say the U.S. needs to mitigate this continuing coronavirus outbreak.
We have 75,000 tests available right now for folks. By early next week, tomorrow, we should have over 2 million tests available. By the end of the week, through partnerships with private industry, over 4 million tests.
Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams on CBS's Face the Nation. Wall Street is expected to be plagued by the coronavirus when markets open this morning, but also plagued by oil prices dropping because of an oil price war between Saudi Arabia and Russia. 2 Republican lawmakers self-quarantining after they say they came in contact with someone who is tested possible for the coronavirus, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas and Congressman Paul Gosar of Arizona. Former Democrat presidential candidate Cory Booker endorsing Joe Biden, joining California Senator Kamala Harris, another former candidate who endorsed the former vice president.
I have decided that I am, with great enthusiasm, going to endorse Joe Biden for President of the United States.
She adds that Biden can unify Democrats. North Korea has reportedly fired several rockets over the Sea of Japan. South Korea says at least 3 projectiles were fired. Cleveland police piecing together details from a shootout that killed 1 man and sent 17 to the hospital. Authorities are investigating a deadly shooting at a house party over the weekend at an Airbnb rental in Barrington Hills. 4 men this morning are wounded following a shootout on the Bishop Ford Freeway in South Holland. State police say the victims were in a vehicle last night when they were shot northbound on I-94 near 159th. 1 man in critical condition following a fire in Chicago's West Humboldt Park neighborhood overnight. The cause is under investigation. And the threat of coronavirus is closing another school in Illinois. Classes are canceled at Wilmette's Loyola Academy. The building is shut down after a student came in contact with someone who has the virus. That student and family not showing any symptoms. But while the school is closed, all classes are not canceled. Teachers are posting Monday assignments online for Loyola Academy. Chicago sports. They were rocking the house last night in Champaign as Kofi Coburn blocked Iowa center Luka Garza at the buzzer to seal number 23 Illinois' win over number 18 Iowa, 78-76. That secures the Illini a double bye in the Big Ten tournament. They'll play on Friday in Indy. Bradley going to the NCAA tournament. They're dancing after winning the Missouri Valley tournament in St. Louis. UIC takes on Wright State in the semifinals of the Horizon League tournament tonight. The news, a service of Lowe's. Do it right to save 5% every day by shopping at Lowe's. In-store or online, save 5% on eligible purchases just by using your Lowe's Advantage credit card. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval. Cannot be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only. 7:35, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
So we know you already like listening to AM 560 The Answer. But now, if you listen to us online, you could win a $200 Amazon gift card. Just listen to AM 560's online stream in any of the ways that are available at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, through your smart speaker, or through iHeart, TuneIn, or radio.com. When you listen, you'll learn how to enter to win. It's that easy. Stream, listen, and win. Contest ends soon, so enter today.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Jim Oberweis is the conservative leader we know and trust, and he gets results. Jim Oberweis has raised millions of dollars to help conservatives across Illinois fight Mike Madigan and the Chicago Democrats. As a state senator, Jim Oberweis has never voted for a tax increase and never will. Jim Oberweis is the only candidate to stand up and fight against Dick Durbin and the D.C. swamp, beating Dick Durbin in each county in the 14th district. Jim Oberweis fought to stop J.B. Pritzker's liberal agenda and strongly opposes Pritzker's graduated income tax. Jim Oberweis is the conservative leader we need to beat Nancy Pelosi and Lauren Underwood. Jim Oberweis stands with President Trump and will vote to fund and build the wall. If you want to support President Trump, stop the liberals, and keep America great, you need to vote for conservative leader Jim Oberweis in the Republican primary on March 17th.
I'm Jim Oberweis, and I approve this message.
Do business more powerfully during Dell's semi-annual sale. Save up to 45% on Dell computers and servers with Intel Core processors. It's time for you to upgrade to new, modern devices with Windows 10. Also, save on electronics and accessories, plus free shipping on everything and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call 877-BUY-DELL to talk to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find just the right tech. That's 877-BUY-DELL or visit Dell.com/business deals.
You see them all around town. Cintas trucks and their service reps taking care of customers. When companies use Cintas, you know they're confident and ready. Cintas helps with their fire protection and first aid and safety programs, handles their apparel solutions, and helps keep their facility and restrooms clean and stocked. So you know those companies care about their employees, facilities, and image. When all those things work together, they're ready for business. Oh, I'm ready! Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it is a fit for you.
7:38. Let's check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with Jim Telemonte.
Soggy conditions are making for a heavier commute westbound 8094 at Stop and Go from before Calumet Avenue to before Torrance. There's a crash in the right lane. Northbound Tri-State, it's heavy 127th Street most of the way to the Stevenson, Plainfield Road to Ogden, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. On Reagan Tollway, it's heavy Farnsworth to Eola, also around Yackley. Northbound Veterans Memorial, slow going 75th to the Reagan Tollway with a crash in the right lane. Edens, 24 minutes Lake Cook Junction. Kennedy, 45 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower, 52 minutes from 390, 40 from Wolf. Stevenson, 55 minutes, 355 from the drive. Ryan, 39 minutes from 95th. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. In our 1 hour heating and air conditioning weather center, a few morning showers, cloudy, windy, cooler with the rain picking up again in the afternoon, high 58. It's 49 at O'Hare, 52 Lakefront. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
Cause they got the beat, the campus beat, the campus beat. Yeah, the campus beat.
Yeah, the campus beat, and takes us to Hyde Park, University of Chicago. The Chicago Statement. That's how it's referred.
What's that?
The statement of opposition to trigger warnings and safe spaces, because universities are and should be marketplaces of ideas, free exchange, not top-down or peer-to-peer censorship. This back in 2016, John Ellison, the Dean of Students at U of C, to the class of 2020, wrote, "Our commitment to academic freedom means we do not support so-called trigger warnings. We do not cancel invited speakers because their topics might prove controversial. We do not condone the creation of intellectual safe spaces where individuals can retreat from ideas and perspectives at odds with their own." Robert Zimmer, the president, U of C, in a Wall Street Journal op-ed following that missive from his Dean of Students, "Universities cannot be viewed as a sanctuary for comfort, but rather as a crucible for confronting ideas and thereby learning to make informed judgments in complex environments. Having one's assumptions challenged and experiencing the discomfort that sometimes accompanies this process are intrinsic parts of an excellent education. Only then will students develop the skills necessary to build their own futures and contribute to society." Well, these are champions of free expression and robust, substantive debate on campus, and they're not going to tolerate the sort of thuggery that you see on campuses not named University of Chicago, right? No, wrong. It's a fun statement of principle. It's a fun marketing tool. But if you talk to UFC students, as we do, it's a statement that is not reflective of the campus culture. And so while you have some people paying lip service to ideas like those expressed by UFC's Robert Zimmer and John Ellison, in practice, it just is the case in very few institutions of higher education, alleged higher education. And so UFC gives us Evita Duffy. Evita Duffy is a second-year student at University of Chicago, and she's also the daughter of Representative Sean Duffy.
Oh, really?
And Rachel Campos Duffy. There was a University of Chicago Institute of Politics digital initiative called I Vote Because blank ... where students pose with a small whiteboard stating their personal reasons for voting. Some examples, this is her op-ed, some examples included Medicare for all, universal health care shouldn't be considered a radical idea, children shouldn't be kept in cages, I vote because, ellipsis, those were some of the answers. She's a conservative Hispanic woman, as she points out. She wrote, I vote because the coronavirus won't destroy America, but socialism will. Is that particularly offensive to anybody? Well, it was to all of those Bernie bros and sisses on campus. She says, recounts, does Evita Duffy, fellow students attack my character, my intellect, my family, my appearance, even threaten me with physical violence using foul and offensive language. I was called a racist and a xenophobe. I don't even know how that's you can apply that criticism to that statement, but okay. Some compared me to animals. Others declared that they would personally stop me from voting. And many defended the personal attack, saying I deserve to be bullied. I don't belong at University of Chicago on account of my beliefs. I was told by many that I was the most hated person on campus. It was frightening. It was also hurtful, since some of the attacks came from people I considered friends. As writing this opinion, which you wrote last week, the administration and the Institute of Politics, that's that alternatively known by me as David Axelrod's Institute for Political Skullduggery, which is what it actually is, have not come to my defense, she writes. The administration, IOP, have not come to my defense, nor have they condemned the intolerance and violence students have directed toward me. Just another day on a college campus. For more on this topic, generally speaking, we're pleased to be joined by Mary Graybar, Executive Director of Dissident Prof, Resident Fellow at the Alexander Hamilton Institute, and author of Debunking Howard Zinn, Exposing the Fake History That Turned a Generation Against America. Mary, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
So, University of Chicago, here we go again, one of our elite institutions. These are the best and brightest that matriculate there, and this is the culture on campus, as so described by Evita Duffy.
Yeah, and it's a shame particularly because the University of Chicago has had a reputation as being very rigorous and dedicated to scholarly inquiry for the longest time. It had that reputation, I know, when I was in graduate school, and that's one of our highest institutions that has fallen. The ideology has spread like a poison.
Well, what is the university doing, though, in response to this? I mean, obviously, there's no freedom of expression on campus, but she is getting threats, and shouldn't they be doing something?
Oh, absolutely. I taught until 2013. My PhD is in English, and I taught at a number of universities and colleges here in Georgia, where I'm temporarily staying. And I am now a resident fellow at the Alexander Hamilton Institute for the Study of Western Civilization up in Clinton, New York, which is an institution that was founded by 3 Hamilton College professors, and we have our student interns, and the same thing happened in 2016 to the leader of the Republican Club. She was physically followed and threatened and screamed at by a male student across campus. And on any college campus, you will see everywhere references, posters to the bias response team. She got no recourse from the administration at all. And this grows out of this sense that there is only one way of thinking, and that is a quasi-socialist way of thinking, a Marxist way of thinking. And a lot of these students have been indoctrinated with Howard Zinn and his books and believe that if you go outside of the set ways of thinking, that you are all of these things. You are racist, which was one of the communist talking points. If you don't agree with us, then you are a racist. You're also a xenophobe. You're also, a homophobe and everything else that they scream at you.
And Howard Zinn, so for people not familiar, most notably People's History of the United States, which made its way into a lot of K through 12 school systems and exists to this day. How influential has his book and the teachers who treat it as gospel in informing students' understanding of America? How much of what we see on college campuses today is a direct result of the teaching of American history from that perspective for the last few generations?
Well, yes, the book's been in print since 1980. It's sold probably over 3 million copies now. There is the Zinn Education Project, which is a nonprofit that was started by one of Zinn's students from Boston University who became quite wealthy in the evil capitalist system. That has had over 100,000 teachers signing up to get free downloadable materials. Zinn's book, A People's History of the United States, is being used in high school classrooms, especially for advanced placement U.S. history. It is in the form of a young people's history of the United States, which is geared towards middle school students. And the downloadable materials from the Zinn Education Project are tailored to specific grades as young as first grade and kindergarten. There are spin-off books, A People's History of American Empire, A People's History of Art History of the Civil War, and on and on. There are movies, documentaries that are available for sale that are shown in classrooms. I've come across books that have excerpts.
Right, but so now take one of those modules and give us a flavor of what you get from Howard Zinn. Howard Zinn tackling the Civil War, tackling the Civil Rights Movement, tackling World War II.
Well, for the Civil Rights Movement, the Black Panthers are civil rights leaders. World War II, the U.S. was as fascist, if not more so, than the Nazis. For Christopher Columbus, there's a role play activity where Christopher Columbus is put on trial. So a lot of these activities are role play, so students don't even have to read anything. They are directed by their teachers to take certain roles, and Christopher Columbus comes under indictment. And, of course, they read a short passage from Zinn's A People's History of the United States, the famous opening chapter, which is full of critical omissions and plagiarisms, as I detail in my book. And it's very deceptive the way he presents Christopher Columbus. One way that I point out is from page 1, where he uses ellipses to leave out critical information that gives the opposite impression of what Christopher Columbus actually intended. So students might get this kind of a sentence, which also was used in an episode of The Sopranos. So they would make fine servants, the ... the ellipses that indicate that, some information was left out, but not critical. And then he goes on, with 50 men, we could subjugate them all and make them do whatever we want. Well, what's left out is, as I point out in my book, I know that they are a people who can be made free and converted to our holy faith more by love than by force. So those are Christopher Columbus's words. He wants to convert the natives to Christianity, and he wants to do it with love more than by force. The way Howard Zinn presents it is that, that Christopher Columbus simply wants to enslave them all and subjugate them.
Well, that's particularly timely as Chicago Public Schools have just canceled Columbus Day, as you undoubtedly know. And Seattle did it years ago, and Columbus, Ohio, of all places, has done it. And so, I mean, just the power of that book and that curriculum, other than doing what you've done, which is to debunk it and then try to get that as part of the conversation, what is it that parents or educators should do to sort of end the multi-generational indoctrination you're describing?
Well, I would suggest that they get my book because what I try to do and what I do with, over 1,000 footnotes is to document not just how Howard Zinn was anti-American and an America hater, but how he actually distorted history. His history is as distorted as one that I bring up by David Irving, who is a Holocaust denier. So I intend my book to be used as a tool to, use it and look at the footnotes that I provide and where I show how such critical information is left out in these famous passages that are taught to students as the truth, and how he is not writing legitimate history, even though he was a historian and had a PhD in history. Parents should get on curriculum committees. They should also be aware that these moves for abolishing Christopher Columbus Day often come right from the Zinn Education Project. They send out kits to teachers by which teachers are given instructions in how to recruit their students to petition against Columbus Day. And they're educated with these lessons to believe that Christopher Columbus came and deliberately committed genocide, that he was a greedy capitalist motivated by his lust for gold. So it would be quite interesting to see how that whole process came about in Chicago, first with the use of Howard Zinn's book, and then with the Zinn Education Project kits that are freely distributed to teachers to petition school boards, local governments, state governments to abolish Columbus Day.
She is Mary Graybar. She's the executive director of Dissident Prof. She's also a resident fellow at the Alexander Hamilton Institute. And the book, Debunking Howard Zinn, Exposing the Fake History That Turned a Generation Against America. Mary, thanks for joining us. Good luck with the book.
Thank you.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Dan Frio with the Mortgage Update. FHA loans are still among the lowest rates in the industry. So if you have an FHA guaranteed loan and made your last 12 payments on time, you may be eligible for not only a low rate, but also a reduction in your PMI. If you're like me and hate seeing the $200 a month in PMI on my statement, let's do something about it. Many of my clients are able to reduce the amount of years that remain on their mortgage and also keep the same payment they're paying now. Today's FHA refinancing rate is 3.125 with an APR of 3.62. So why give this money to the bank when you can put it into your own pocket? To reach me personally, call 844-775-LOAN. That's 844-775-LOAN. Or reach me on the web at windmortgage.com. That's windmortgage.com.
Preferred Rate is an Illinois residential mortgage licensee and an equal housing lender. NMLS 1850.
Hey, it is never too early to think about what activities your son or daughter will do this summer. You want your kids to have fun during their break, but provide some structure and preparation for the next school year. Please consider St. John's Northwestern Summer Academy in Lake County, Wisconsin. St. John's Northwestern Summer Academy offers fantastic summer programs, such as one in academic opportunities for personal success, and number two, Adventure Camp. Academic Opportunities offers 7th through 12th graders 5 weeks of summer classes supplemented with fun activities throughout. An adventure camp, well, it's just how it sounds. An exciting camp that instills leadership, adventure skills training, and having fun. Consider St. John's Northwestern Summer Academy for your son or daughter with an overnight or day camp programs. Again, it's located in the beautiful Lake County region of Wisconsin. It's only a 2-hour drive from Chicago. I trust them so much. I send Peyton and Eli there for the adventure camp, and they're still talking about it today. So for more information, go to sjnma.org. That's sjnma.org.
I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO of Wesley Financial Group and timeshare cancellation advocate. I was sued by the largest timeshare company in federal court for simply helping people cancel their timeshare that they had been lied to about. The jury sized me up and came back with a verdict after only 20 minutes. And yes, I won.
My husband and I are more than grateful to everyone at Wesley Financial Group. You know, thanks to Chuck and his team, we feel as though a weight has been lifted and we can move on without the worry of a troublesome timeshare.
Whether you owe $10,000 to $250,000 on your timeshare, it's my mission to get you out of your timeshare, eliminate your payments, and get them off your back permanently. And we proudly hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau.
Want to learn more about getting rid of your troublesome timeshare? Call Wesley Financial Group now for your free consultation. Call 800-279-1414. That's 800-279-1414. 800-279-1414.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This is Dr. Gordon J. Kinsler running to be your Republican representative for Congressional District 6. I'm a transplant surgeon and a colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. As a physician, I've learned compassion and sensibility. I joined the military out of a deep sense of duty and resolve. I'm concerned that many in Congress are promoting a dangerous socialist agenda. I believe in free markets, less government, fewer regulations, lower taxes, a balanced budget, a strong military, and securing our borders. I've cut property taxes in local government. I'm not a career politician. If elected, I'll fight political corruption, provide quality, affordable health care, and keep our families safe. I'm a team builder, not a divider. I've been endorsed by the Daily Herald and Sun-Times. I have the best chance to beat the Democrat in November. When legislators start working as a team, we will tackle problems like the coronavirus and improve the lives of every American. I am Dr. Gordon J. Kinsler, running to be your representative for the 6th Congressional District. I ask for your vote on March 17th. Learn more about us at kinslerforcongress.org. Thank you.
Paid for by Kinsler for Congress.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, Amy, I want you to remark upon the passing of your colleague, Clark Weber.
Oh, yeah, Clark Weber passed away at the age of 89. He was in hospice care at his home in Evanston. Worked here for years. Not recently, about 5 years ago, had an event, bringing back all the former DJs and radio talk show hosts from the station, and he was there, and he was a wonderful man.
And you came up with him.
Oh, no, yeah, well, no, he was born in 1930, Dan, and he worked here in the 60s, okay?
WIND, Chicago.
There you go. Well,
Clark
rest in
Weber.
peace, Clark
Yes.
Weber, broadcasting
Survived
legend.
by his wife for 63 years. She died in 2018, and his 4 daughters have been taking care of him. So, great man, great family. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
COVID-19 at 8:08.
But now it is 8 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
Looking like another rough day on Wall Street. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News Dow futures down 1,255 points ahead of the opening bell. There are concerns about the economy due to crashed oil prices and the coronavirus outbreak. Here's Fox's Evan Brown with the latest on that going on in this country.
Chris, numbers of potential and actual cases continue to creep up around the nation, which is furthering the call for those who could be at higher risk for illness to stay home and avoid exposure. Dr. Anthony Fauci heads up the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease.
The people with the underlying conditions need to distance themselves from crowds, not travel, not get on long air flights, and certainly not getting on a cruise ship.
Cruise ships like the Grand Princess, which will dock in Oakland, California today, with passengers and crew being shuttled directly to quarantine. Chris?
Evan Brown in Miami, thanks. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker is the latest former presidential candidate now endorsing Joe Biden for president. Democrats hold primary contests in 6 states tomorrow.
Washington votes, a state with 89 delegates. Missouri has a contest. They have 68 delegates. The big prize tomorrow, though, is Michigan with 125 delegates. North Dakota, Mississippi, and Idaho all hold elections as well. In Michigan, a poll done in mid-February had Bernie Sanders ahead, but then another poll just before Super Tuesday put Joe Biden in the lead. Polling out of Washington state's been limited, but at last check in mid-February, Sanders was ahead, and in Missouri, a single poll done after Super Tuesday put Biden in the lead. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
The actor Max von Sydow died, 90 years old. He played the priest in The Exorcist.
It's the power of Christ that compels you. The power of Christ!
He was from Sweden. His first movie made there in 1949. He was in around 200 movies and TV shows. America's listening to Fox News.
Skies are cloudy. We've seen some light rain showers. 48 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Authorities continue investigating a deadly shooting at a house party over the weekend at an Airbnb rental in Barrington Hills. 4 men wounded following a shooting on the Bishop Ford Freeway in South Holland. State police say the victims were in a vehicle last night near 159th when they were shot. All 4 are hospitalized this morning with non-life-threatening injuries. 15 are recovering following a CTA bus crash on Chicago's south side. The bus traveling north on Cottage Grove when it was struck near 69th Street. A man in critical condition following a fire in the West Humboldt Park neighborhood. The blaze broke out last night in the attic of a 2-flat in the 1400 block of North Keeler. A Chicago man in his 60s is the 7th person in Illinois to have tested positive for coronavirus. The latest case is not linked to the recently confirmed case of an employee at Vaughn Occupational High School on Chicago's northwest side, or the threat of coronavirus closing another school in the state. Loyola Academy in Wilmette will be closed today for a deep cleaning after a student and his family came in contact with a person who tested positive. That student and family are not showing any symptoms but are still self-quarantining for 14 days. However, while the campus is closed, teachers will post Monday's assignments online for students at Loyola Academy. Fighting Illini, a win over number 18 Iowa, 78-76 in Champaign last night. The Illini secure a 4 seed ahead of the 2020 Big Ten tournament and a double bye into Friday of that tournament in Indy. It's 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Deirdre Bolton, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stock futures on the S&P 500 were halted overnight when they declined 5%. The sell-off followed sharply lower crude oil prices after Saudi Arabia decided to launch a price war with Russia. The slump happens as global demand has been shrinking because of the coronavirus canceling travel and manufacturing. Bill Flynn of Price Futures Group says this will result in lower gas prices, but it'll take a toll on the energy industry.
This is like the worst case scenario. You have demand falling off the roof. You have Saudi Arabia flooding the market with oil, basically driving prices down to the point of pain.
Starbucks is testing a new coffee cup today in New York, San Francisco, and Seattle. It's a paper cup with biodegradable lining instead of plastic. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosolda, invested in you.
Why did all this come out on Bloomberg?
The Sean Hannity Show.
Because Bloomberg had spent $500 million and he was getting close. This came from Democrats. If I had to say the likely culprit, again, educated guess, 31 years on radio, 24 years at Fox, I'd be looking right at the Biden campaign because they know how to play this game better than anybody.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Steve Cortez at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
My fingernails grow, I think, faster. My hair grows a little quicker. I feel pretty good overall health. The biggest thing I tell people is I don't get sick anymore. Not that I was sick or anything before, but if I could stay with a boosted immune system, which is what I think I'm doing with this, I like that position because I don't get sick. I don't get sore throats. I don't get colds. My wife got the flu over Christmas. My daughter got real sick over Christmas. I didn't worry. I just stayed a reasonable distance from them, and I didn't get sick. So that's what I like.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Do business more powerfully during Dell's semi-annual sale. Save up to 45% on Dell computers and servers with Intel Core processors. It's time for you to upgrade to new modern devices with Windows 10. Also, save on electronics and accessories plus free shipping on everything and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call 877-BUY-DELL to talk to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find just the right tech. That's 877-BUY-DELL or visit Dell.com/business deals.
How can a fully stocked restroom improve your image? How can serviced fire extinguishers or a first aid cabinet make your employees more prepared? How can comfortable work apparel make your business more productive? For over 1 million customers, the answer is simple. Cintas. Cintas delivers everything you need to open your doors with confidence. Because helping keep businesses well-equipped, clean, and looking their best, that's our business.
Oh, I'm ready.
Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
8:07. Let's get an update on the roads this morning. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time and Jim Telemonte.
In the loop, 2 CTA buses have collided at Washington and State. Inbound Kennedy, delays start at Harlem. It's 56 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 33 from Montrose, 30 in the Express. Outbound 37 minutes to the airport. Eden's 24 minutes, Lake Cook Junction. Eisenhower an hour, 390 to downtown, 46 minutes from Wolf. The Stevenson is 56 minutes, 355 to the drive. The Ryan, 38 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound tri-state traffic is slow from 115th to Ogden and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. The Reagan Tollway is slow going 31 to Eola. Northbound Veterans Memorial from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway. Eastbound I-80 from Fort Richards to past Cherry Hill. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. In our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, meteorologist Steve Williams.
It'll be windy today, cloudy skies, couple of showers around this morning, periods of rain for the afternoon, high today 56. Clouds and some rain tapering off tonight, low 38. The clouds give way to some sun tomorrow, the high 48. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. 49 degrees at O'Hare, 52 along the lakefront. Rain showers, 46 in Aurora. Dan and Amy continue next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Are you like Daryl Austin? Daryl Austin is a small business owner in Utah. And he writes, for my family, the coronavirus can't get here soon enough. Yes. He is ready to embrace it. Why my family isn't afraid of the virus? Why we want to get it over with instead of prolonging the inevitable? Because, per the New York Times, several medical experts have said that those who've been infected with the coronavirus will not become infected again, as their bodies will produce antibodies that provide immunity. Another doctor suggesting as long as the virus doesn't evolve, there's no chance of being infected again. He adds, I'm flabbergasted, in the interim, waiting for it to hit his family. I'm flabbergasted by the way so many overreact to a virus that kills so few, doesn't harm our young, and feels like nothing more than the common cold, when it feels like anything at all for more than 80% of its victims. Coronavirus may never actually impact my family at all, but if it ever does, I hope it happens sooner rather than later. The drip, drip, drip of daily anticipation and ensuing madness is going to do far more damage in the end.
Who is this man again?
Daryl Austin, small business owner. He's in your camp. He wants to get coronavirus post-haste.
I do. Like, we used to have the chicken pox parties. Let's have the coronavirus parties. Let's get this over with, because you know what? It's weighing on my heart and my
And your
soul.
401k.
And my 401k, because I've lost tens of thousands of dollars because somebody decided to eat a bat in China. Thank you.
Well,
but here, let's just put a face on this. This is number 5 from the 5th case in Illinois. 21-year-old student from Vanderbilt University was in Florence for a study abroad program, flew in through Chicago, knew something was wrong.
I came home, walked in the door, told my parents, after this long travel day, I'm really not feeling well. I think I might have COVID-19 coronavirus. My parents just made the phone calls to rush.
And so, this is what he was feeling.
Just very mild symptoms like runny nose, headache, cough, difficulty breathing, but no high fever.
And he's been, he was released over the weekend at Rush Hospital. So people that were scared to go to Rush Hospital, don't be. He's out of Rush Hospital under home confinement, and so are his parents and his brother. Okay, so that's just putting a face. So because we talk about, COVID-19, but those are the actual people who have it. Look, they're alive. Look, they're already back home. He probably didn't even have to go to the hospital to begin with.
Says the woman who just took her blue latex gloves off.
Well, that's because I just did a shot of hand sanitizer.
Exactly.
I intermit the gloves.
So
I wear the gloves to get into the building because things are dirty, such as the elevator buttons and doors.
It's exciting when we tackle this topic because I never know if Jekyll or Hyde is going to show up.
I'm trying to become.
Yeah.
And I told my kids, because a lot of people are worried about spring break. Spring break. Do we cancel our spring break plans? CDC right now says you can travel freely anywhere in the world except for China, Iran, South Korea, and Northern Italy.
All right. No college kids going to Tehran for spring break this year.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line, 64636. Type in DA. Then a quick comment. I have to tell you, Southwest Airlines did the most brilliant thing. Within the last hour, they sent out an email to everyone who's part of their program, and they're changing the way they clean their planes. We are now going to spend 6 to 7 hours cleaning each aircraft every night.
Are they going to be singing "Happy Birthday" to me while they do so, like you do? Go ahead, tell people again.
Okay.
Your advice for washing hands.
Well, not my advice. The CDC advice said you should wash your
CDC said sing "Happy Birthday" to yourself when you
They
wash your
said
hands.
no, you should wash your hands for 20 seconds thoroughly. And the time it takes to do that, you should sing "Happy Birthday" to yourself twice. Because that's not psychotic.
Now, is that Dr. Anthony Fauci saying that, or is that Dr. Amy Jacobson?
I learned it from a virologist watching NBC News.
Oh, my God.
The virologist on NBC News, they did this test with a bunch of kids. They put powder on their hands.
We're all kids now.
No, and then they watch them, touch things, computer, their hands, their teachers, their hair, inside their ears. They could touch their face more than 20 times in an hour. And then they turned on this ultraviolet light, and you could see where the germs had spread.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they told them all, because they're kids, that, 20 seconds instead of counting to 20, because that might be difficult. I don't know why. Sing "Happy Birthday" to me twice, and that's the time it takes. Back to Southwest Airlines, though. They use EPA-approved hospital-grade disinfectants and the laboratories, and they want everyone to know that they use HEPA, high-efficiency particulate air filters, and that's the same thing that they use in hospitals to provide patients with clean air, because people just think that they're always trapped in these petri dishes on an airplane. You're not.
We talked to an infectious disease expert last week from Advocate who said actually the air is, generally speaking, more clean in an airplane because of the circulation and the filtering that they do. So, yeah.
Anybody canceling their plans, though?
I want to hear, I go back to, we talked about a little bit earlier, took some calls on this, take some more just for my own entertainment because I need it to maintain my sanity. The greatest overreaction you've witnessed to the coronavirus to date. There was something out of Australia, 3 women fighting over toilet paper. That's pretty good.
That's a good one.
I
know a lot of people are fighting under Uncrustables. Do you know what those are?
No.
They're peanut butter and jelly in a little breaded pad. They're frozen treats, and there's one left at the Jewels in Elk Grove Village, and they were arguing over who was there first.
Because nobody can make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich anymore.
You've got to have it prepackaged,
of course,
and frozen. But it's good, when you have to stockpile, which a lot of people are doing. I don't know who would do that, but
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text, and greatest overreaction. Are you in the camp with Daryl Austin and Amy Jacobson? Daryl Austin from Utah, Amy Jacobson from Chicago, that you want the coronavirus to visit your family sooner rather than later, just to get it over with. And also this, how about this metaphysical point? This is interesting. Jun Yun is a doctor. He's also the president of Palo Alto Investors. And he talks about the data being misleading and what the numbers don't tell you about coronavirus. And this is sort of a larger societal commentary. We should get to the bottom of why we're caught in the vortex of fear in response to coronavirus, lest we be visited by unwanted sequels every 2 to 5 years, as we have been over the last 20. We've talked about it, right? Avian flu and SARS and MERS and Zika and Ebola. Get to the bottom of why we're caught in this vortex of fear. Is it something more than just this being new and unknown, and so the flu is a known quantity, so we're desensitized to it, where we're anxiety riddled because something is new? He writes, at the center of this powerful vortex is the principal agent problem that infected human civilization at its roots at the end of the kin-tribe era of human social evolution. Whereas humans were once fed, informed, and governed by those who had our best interests at heart, in a post-diaspora melting pot, we are fed, informed, and governed by those who have their own best interest at heart. Without mutual skin in the game to protect against self-dealing, powerful institutions began arising all over the ancient world that ruled over instead of on behalf of the people. Today's fake news, fake foods, fake leadership culture are all catalyzed by the same underlying cause of misaligned incentives that have been derailing human sociality and befuddling revolutionaries for thousands of years. It was the WHO, not to be confused with the WHO, who pointed out that the new boss is always the same as the old boss. So he goes on to say, what I hope happens to the story from here is we begin addressing the first-order cause of human social dysfunctions rather than whack-a-moling its second-order symptoms. Simply put, our family values didn't scale as we globalized, but virality has. Ooh, I like that. Our family values didn't scale as we globalized, but virality has. So perhaps it's not globalism in a vacuum, right? The Trump supporters are complaining about the globalists and onshoring supply chains and all of those prescriptions. Okay, fine, it's an argument, but we're not going to be in autarky in this interconnected, interdependent world, certainly not overnight. And I'm happy to have companies believe that it's more profitable to be in America and thus be in America and have more benefits redound to Americans, but not through the edict of the central planner. That's the difference, I suppose. But our family values didn't scale as we globalized, but virality has. And so the disconnection in the post-kinship age, and we've talked a lot about this. We talked in the last couple of weeks about David Brooks's piece about nuclear family and the reactions to that. Maybe there's something here. There's something here. Again, just whereas humans were once fed, informed, and governed by those who had our best interests at heart, in our post-diaspora melting pot, we are fed, informed, and governed by those who have their own best interests at heart. Isn't that in part the revolt that elected Trump? This is, I think, providing some form to the function. I don't believe those people who are in charge of these powerful institutions that have manifest impact on my life, that are telling me what to do, how to raise my kids, how to live, what work I can and cannot do, what money I will or will not be paid, what I shall not give up, regulating every aspect of my life and the decision-making within it. Yeah.
If you were told to self-quarantine, would you do it?
No.
Because that's coming.
Jim on the north side.
There's a very good reason why you want to get the coronavirus now. Because if you get it now and it really challenges your system, you've got a medical system that can take absolutely great care of you. But if it becomes a pandemic, some old geezer like me, they'll just sit me in the hallway and let me die.
Well, okay, thanks for the call, Jim. I'm not so sure it would be exactly that, but I know that's sort of a Hollywood-style concern. I
Well,
think
do we
there's-
have enough hospital beds? I mean, that's what people are concerned about. Because 80% of us are not going to have to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
We won't even. Some of us won't even know that we have it.
I think there is concern about how many patients the system writ large, all of the local systems that combined are discussed as the system of healthcare in this country. But I don't know, some stats I was looking at suggested we have hospital beds that, based on the trajectory of the infection, would last until at least early May. And remember, so just something that's
come to that.
that's yeah. I mean, I understand people wanting to contemplate worst case scenario, but you have to do so in proportion to what you know to be true.
What, you mean getting the hazmat suits was too much?
A little bit.
And I got an extra large for Peyton because he's 6'6".
Yeah, a little bit. Dr. Jerome Adams, Surgeon General, sort of had a comment to that end.
Some parts of the country are having much more severe flu seasons. Some are having very mild flu seasons. The same thing for coronavirus. So you want to first try to keep it out of your community. Once you know it's in your community, you want to take the steps to prevent spread within the community and to keep those most at risk safe. And a very important point here, we now know more about who is at risk. Average age of death for people from coronavirus is 80. Average age of people who need medical attention is age 60. We want people who are older, people who have medical conditions, to take steps to protect themselves, including avoiding crowded spaces, including thinking very carefully about whether or not now's the time to get on that cruise ship and whether now's the time to take that long-haul flight.
And that's what that student's aide at the Vaughn Academy, she did. She went on, the sale price was too good, so she left school and went on a cruise. And she works with medically fragile children. Well, she should have known better. And I think CPS should fire her for that. There's just or just not call her back to be a substitute teacher.
The State Department issued its advisory against patronizing cruise ships yesterday. So the people that are deboarding from the Grand Princess outside of San Francisco today,
in Oakland,
should they all be fired from their jobs too?
No.
Why not?
Most of them are elderly and they're retired.
Well, what about the ones who aren't?
I don't know if everybody on that cruise ship is working with medically fragile children. And now they're self-quarantined and their parents are for a week. And anybody else that they're around has to be notified and they have to self-quarantine.
Yeah. What do we know about the virus so far in terms of its impact on children?
This is special ed high school, Dan. This is different. These are medically fragile children and some have very low immune systems.
Yeah.
Some children, we don't know. There's not a high number of children who have died. 105 have died from the flu in America so far this year.
So she should be what? She should be fired for doing what exactly? Not clearing.
I think she was being selfish.
Not clearing her travel with you?
No. Well, now I got all the parents. We got a letter from CPS. Any teacher, teacher's aide, anyone that works or is a vendor to a school that goes to an area of concern, such as on a cruise ship, China, Iran, Northern Italy, has to self-quarantine themselves for 14 days before returning back to school.
Yeah, that's now. So.
That's what they learned from her going on that cruise ship, that they need to protect the children. Because it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I'm sorry, you said she should be fired.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I thought what she did was selfish and irresponsible.
Why?
Considering that she works with medically fragile children, the worst place to go is on a cruise ship when she knew about the other cruise ships where people were quarantined for 2 weeks on those cruise ships. She knew about the coronavirus. She shouldn't have been on the ship. That's the last place I would have gone if I worked with medically fragile children.
Well, that's your choice.
Yeah.
There's nothing that prohibits her from doing it. And there's nothing that indicated, at least from a governmental level, that she couldn't.
But common sense doesn't kick in?
I don't know. I mean,
you had 3,700 people on that cruise ship and 710 walked off. No, now it's 712 have coronavirus. She didn't see that? She didn't read the paper?
Which cruise ship is that? The one she was on?
The Diamond Princess. No, she was on the Grand Princess, but the Diamond Princess happened long before she got on
in
Grand
Japan.
Princess. Right.
Yeah.
But still, she was going from San Francisco
It was
to
actually a
Hawaii.
very small percentage of those that were infected relative to the number of people on that cruise ship, considering they were in close quarters. That's what we.
Yeah, but
that's
it's
what we
close
learned
quarters,
from
so
medical.
she-
That's
right.
what we learned from medical professionals.
Right, but I just think she made a mistake.
Well, I understand. It's because it's easy to be Monday morning quarterback and then tell somebody that they should be fired for making a decision that's wholly within their purview, that was violative of no professional guidelines that I'm aware of, and or that you're aware of, apparently.
Well, it was so bad that now they have new guidelines in place.
Okay, so what? So now they have new guidelines because they're at a different place at a different time than when the decision she made was. Now you want ex post facto decision making? I mean, it's just very easy to be cavalier with other people's lives. That's what the government's good at doing, and which is why so many people are resistant to it. You know best. No, you don't. Mm-mm. And we have to listen to ridiculousness. You want to talk about common sense? Excuse me, common sense? The last 4 weeks on this show. You want to talk about people trafficking in hysteria and anxiety, not employing anything resembling common sense? There's been a lot of those people. What should be done to them? What should be done to people who are irrationally stoking fear and negatively impacting all our 401ks, negatively impacting our movement, negatively impacting our jobs, our businesses, our daily life? I mean, you want to play that game of starting to ascribe professional, economic, civil, criminal penalties on people based on their decision-making within the bounds of the law and their discretion? I don't think so.
312-642-5600.
Ed in LaGrange.
Oh, did you ever read Airplane? Remember the scene in Airplane where they had the 60-minute riff where the one guy that looks at Shayna and goes, Shayna, they bought their tickets, they knew what they were doing. I say let them crash. It'll be Amy. He can play that part perfectly.
All right, thanks.
Let them crash.
All right, thanks for the call, Ed. Don in Bloomingdale.
Hey, Amy, let's just take the North Korean approach. A bullet's cheaper than hospital stay. But who pays for all this? If someone is ordered to be quarantined or hospitalized for 21 days, is that coming out of their insurance, or is this coming out of the $85 billion that they just approved that we're never going to see where it goes or where or whose pocket it went?
That's a good question. I'm going to ask our friends from Arlington Heights who now live in
Don.
Phoenix. They've been quarantined they're on week 6. Who's paying for all of this?
$8.5 billion.
Okay, but I'll ask them. I don't know if I know they have health insurance, but I don't know. Well, they have Medicare, but they have supplemental health insurance. But I'll ask them who's paying for it.
Dirk in Stager.
Hello?
Yeah, Dirk, you're on.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, my nav was talking up. Anyway, wasn't there a lady a while back who got the virus, and then she got over it, and then they said she got reinfected? And that I thought it sounded strange because, like you said, you shouldn't be able to get it a second time, right?
No,
Did they prove that was wrong?
There was a woman who was on that Diamond Princess ship. She was released from the San Antonio hospital. She had 2 negatives, but the third test came back positive.
Thanks
So
for the call, Dirk.
Yeah, now she's back in isolation.
I'm not familiar with
But she's
anybody
not
who's gotten sick a second time, gotten the coronavirus a second time. But again, this is all with the caveat, what we understand about the virus, assuming it doesn't mutate at this point. So that could change, but we're relaying what we know to be true rather than getting out over our skis.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Michigan primary tomorrow could be Bernie's last stand. We'll discuss with Nolan Finley, editorial page editor of the Detroit News at 8:38.
And who gets the horse semen when you get a divorce? But now let's head straight into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
48 degrees. We've had light rain showers this morning. Wall Street looks set to continue to be plagued by coronavirus when the markets opened this morning, but also a crash in oil prices due to a oil price war between Russia and Saudi Arabia. Dow futures have fallen 1,200. Meantime, cruise ship is back in South Florida after being cleared by the CDC. The Regal Princess docked last night at Port Everglades. Passengers are talking about how impressed they were with how the situation has been handled by everyone.
Beautifully. They did everything they possibly could do to make us comfortable. They kept us informed. They told us what the people were having to do. They had already spent 2 weeks in quarantine, so we weren't worried. They're protecting us.
2 Republican lawmakers are self-quarantining after coming in contact with someone who did test positive for coronavirus. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, Congressman Paul Gosar of Arizona. Neither has developed any symptoms. Another round of primaries is on tap tomorrow. Voters will be casting ballots in Michigan, Missouri, Mississippi, Washington, Idaho. North Dakota will be holding a caucus. Former Vice President Joe Biden stumped in Missouri.
South Carolina had something to say about that. And then came Super Tuesday. And today there's 11 victories behind us, and we lead in both delegates and the national vote.
Elections are a race between Biden and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Authorities are investigating a deadly shooting at a house party over the weekend at an Airbnb rental in Barrington Hills. 4 men severely wounded following a shooting on the Bishop Ford Freeway overnight in South Holland. Charges are pending against 2 teen boys accused of shooting at Chicago police. On the west side, it happened last night in the 800 block of North Waller. No officers wounded. Chicago man in his 60s is the 7th person in Illinois to have tested positive for coronavirus. State and local health officials say the new case was detected when the man sought medical care. The latest case is not confirmed, linked to a confirmed case involving an employee who disembarked from a cruise ship February 21st, then went back to work at Vaughn Occupational High School. The threat of coronavirus is closing another school in Illinois as a precaution. While classes are canceled, while Loyola Academy in Wilmette is clean. However, teachers are posting Monday's assignments online. Bradley going to the NCAA tournament after winning the Missouri Valley Conference basketball tournament in St. Louis. Blues blanked the Blackhawks 2-0. Nets beat the Bulls 110-107. White Sox won both of their split squad games while the Cubs lost a pair. The news service of CVS, because when you're feeling under the weather, the last thing you want to do is hike to the pharmacy. Let CVS deliver your prescriptions. For details and treating yourself well, visit cvs.com/delivery. 8:32 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher has a theory about the Democrats.
I didn't think Pete Buttigieg finishing 3rd in South Carolina was bad for him. I'm going to throw out a theory. Somebody made him a really good offer. You'll be my vice presidential running mate if you'll drop out now to give me some votes in Super Tuesday. The only person I can think of that would make that kind of offer is Joe Biden.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Frank Vance, co-owner of Egan Vance Insurance Agency on Chicago's Northwest Side and a customer of Signature Bank. In my line of work, we pride ourselves on being there for our clients when they need it the most, and we recognize when someone does the same for us. As Egan Vance was expanding, we wanted to buy a much sought-after building in the neighborhood. We couldn't waste any time. I called Signature Bank, and that was all it took. I didn't have to talk to multiple people in silo departments with multiple forms to fill out. One call did it all. As the one who was always looking out for my clients, it was a great change to know that my bank, Signature Bank, was looking out for me.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Jim Oberweis is the conservative leader we know and trust, and he gets results. Jim Oberweis has raised millions of dollars to help conservatives across Illinois fight Mike Madigan and the Chicago Democrats. As a state senator, Jim Oberweis has never voted for a tax increase and never will. Jim Oberweis is the only candidate to stand up and fight against Dick Durbin and the D.C. swamp, beating Dick Durbin in each county in the 14th district. Jim Oberweis fought to stop J.B. Pritzker's liberal agenda and strongly opposes Pritzker's graduated income tax. Jim Oberweis is the conservative leader we need to beat Nancy Pelosi and Lauren Underwood. Jim Oberweis stands with President Trump and will vote to fund and build the wall. If you want to support President Trump, stop the liberals, and keep America great, you need to vote for conservative leader Jim Oberweis in the Republican primary on March 17th.
I'm Jim Oberweis, and I approve this message.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
8:35. Let's check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Inbound Kennedy is heavy from Austin to Madison. It's 50 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 33 from Montrose, 30 in the Express. Eden's 19 minutes Lake Hook to the Junction. On Eisenhower, it's an hour from 390 to downtown, 46 minutes from Wolf. Stevenson, 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 38 minutes from 95th. Lakeshore Drive southbound, it's heavy Foster to Michigan Avenue. Northbound from the Stevenson to Monroe and from Bryn Mawr to Hollywood. Westbound tri-state delays are from 115th and Ridgeland to Ogden, and from the Reaganville right to the Grand Avenue curve. Southbound it's slow going 120 to Everett. Eastbound Reaganville with delays are 31 to Eola. Southbound 53 Dundee to Kirchhoff. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Cloudy, windy, cooler. Rain this afternoon, high 58. Considerable cloudiness, cooler. Rain tapering off, low 38. 49 at O'Hare, 52 Lakefront. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kobaba. Every Saturday morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, a footnote on our coronavirus discussion before the Mike Scott's newscast. There was this report out of Japan that a Japanese tour guide got the coronavirus, hospitalized, was cleared, and then got reinfected. That's the only case of a possible reinfection that I've heard, and that case is in dispute as to whether or not that tour guide was actually ever
really
cured.
tested or cured. Yeah.
So,
and
anyway.
also, too, please keep in mind, in 2009, H1N1, Obama was president. Remember back then? We had 60 million Americans get H1N1. 270,000 of them had to be hospitalized, and 12,000 died. And I don't remember that back then, them making it a political issue. You know, the Republicans, weaponizing that virus back then to make Obama look bad. I guess.
But back then we didn't have the exigent circumstances we have today. I remind you, Costco has stopped giving out free samples. And that's a world in which I just don't want to live.
I know you're such a big shopper, too. You're just going to have to go to Sam's Club now.
Switching gears to the campaign trail, Michigan primary tomorrow, and it could be Bolshevik Bernie's last stand if he doesn't win Michigan.
He gone, you think? Or the numbers aren't just there?
I mean, he can carry on. He'll carry on for a while yet, but Joe Biden is going to extend the delegate lead, and the air of inevitability will be that much stronger around him. We have polling from Ogden and Fry, which is a Chicago-based robo-polling firm that has Biden up 30 points on Sanders in Illinois.
Wow.
And remember, 4 years ago, Sanders came back to win Michigan, and he narrowly lost Illinois, like 51-49 to Hillary. So it just feels different than it did 4 years ago when Bernie was surging and Hillary Clinton was sort of a bobber in the water. It actually feels almost the opposite right now. And that's despite the fact that Joe Biden isn't exactly affording himself any better on the campaign trail. In St. Louis, Missouri over the weekend, Joe Biden is, he's become Irish, and he's rooting for Trump's reelection.
Turn this primary from a campaign that's about negative attacks into one about what we're for, because we cannot get reelected. We cannot win this reelection. We can only reelect Donald Trump.
You want to nominate a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat, a proud Democrat, an Biden-Obama Democrat.
An Biden-Obama Democrat. That's a new kind of Democrat. You got your blue dogs, you got your yellow dogs. Now you have your Biden-Obama Democrats. Okay. Bernie Sanders, to his effort to try to turn around his flailing campaign, brought in Jesse Jackson Sr. to Grand Rapids.
I stand with Bernie Sanders today because he stood with me. I stand with him because he stands with you.
Was it me or did Jesse Sr. seem a little sleepy to borrow a Trump?
He's sick. Yeah, he's not well. So he's battling something that nobody really wants to discuss, but he's not well at all.
Okay.
So I was surprised to see him out there. Good for him that he made it out there.
For more on this in Michigan in particular, we're pleased to be joined by Nolan Finley, conservative editorial page editor of the Detroit News. Nolan, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here. Maybe Biden thought it was St. Patrick's Day.
That's exactly right. Everybody's Irish.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
I
It
didn't
is
think
only a week away, or 9 days
a
away
week
from
from
when
when.
he said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, you got to keep coming up with innovative rationalizations to explain Biden's performance on the trail, don't you? I wonder how that is being received in Michigan. It seems to be ignored at this point as Biden has moved ahead of Bernie after his Super Tuesday performance in Michigan.
Well, it's hard. Michigan's a hard place to tell looking at the primary. I would remind everybody on this day, 4 years ago, Hillary Clinton, every single poll had her up plus 20 or more. The Real Clear Politics average was Clinton by 21.4, and Bernie beat her on election day by about 1 or 2 points. It was a narrow victory, but he beat her and kept his campaign alive. Michigan does squirrely things in primaries. You know, we just heard from Jesse Jackson. Michigan gave its primary votes to Jesse Jackson at one time. It continuously baffles in the primary. And I wrote a piece yesterday. Don't count Bernie out.
Right.
I don't think this is over yet.
But in that same piece, you also wrote that some of the indicators that were present for his comeback 4 years ago are not present now.
Yeah, no, he whooped her in the outstate areas, outside of the metro area, badly last time. And this time they're tied. Older voters are going with Joe. Younger voters, of course, those under 30, 35 are still with Bernie, but there's no indication they'll vote. They haven't been voting. I think it'd be tougher this time for him to surprise. But my question is, if tomorrow does put a spear in Bernie, and all Democrats have left is Joe Biden, and they wake up and look at Joe Biden as their candidate, that can't make them feel excited and enthused.
Yeah.
He's not a candidate that's going to ignite great passion in their electorate.
Well, does he have the stamina to even make it? I mean, and then there was Amy Klobuchar was in Grand Rapids when she slipped and said, I'm joining the ticket. He needs to find a very, very strong, preferably younger running mate, correct?
Well, and one that doesn't scare people to death. I mean, some of the names that are being thrown around, no experience, far left, there for identity politics reasons. I don't think that's going to get him across the finish line. And I don't know about his stamina. He does seem to be slipping mentally, but again, I'm not an expert in that. But regardless of that, he is simply not a guy who excites the electorate. And the more he tries to excite the electorate, the worse he sounds. So the Democrats are going into the election, including here in Michigan, counting on an anti-Trump vote. And, history would indicate people don't vote against a candidate. They vote for a candidate. And I just don't see Biden doing much better than Clinton in exciting people to the polls.
Interesting. So you think that Trump, if all things being equal, and there's a lot to happen between now and November, is in a position to hold serve in Michigan?
I think he could. I think now Biden will do better in the black communities than Clinton did. They wanted no part of her, Michigan's black voters. But I do think Trump will have an easier time than people are believing against Joe Biden.
You think that some of those
He's
people
not that strong a candidate anymore.
And do you think that many of those voters who voted for Trump, particularly maybe first-time Republican voters who crossed over to vote for Trump, they're sticking with him in Michigan?
no evidence that they're leaving. I mean, but there's still a lot of variables, and we're in the middle of one. It's always about the economy. The economy's been chugging along, and I can't tell you the number of never-Trumpers and Democrats I talked to in recent weeks who've said, well, it'd be hard to vote against Trump with this economy. And that was particularly true when it looked like Bernie was going to be the nominee. But if this economy tanks because of the coronavirus, I think it would be hard for any president to get reelected. Remember John McCain, and he was riding fairly high in 2008 when it was a national security election. When it became an economy election, he tanked.
Well, right. He also said the economy is not my bag and suspended his campaign, which did not inspire a lot of confidence. But your point is well taken that it reshuffles the deck. He is Nolan Finley. He's the editorial page editor of the Detroit News. Nolan, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Yeah, and we have some breaking news. Trading has halted.
Yeah, trading halted after a 7% drop at open.
And we'll talk to Jim Murio after we take this break. And he joined us, by the way, on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Transferring paper files to digital used to be complicated and expensive. Data and document capture had many IT layers involved. It was expensive, time-consuming, and labor-intensive. Not anymore, thanks to the Alaris Infuse Smart Connected Scanning Solution from Kodak Alaris and IDT. The Alaris Infuse solution makes data and document capture easy, and it's powered by Capsys Capture Online. Within a matter of minutes, you'll be able to accurately and reliably onboard content with instant notification of data issues, making the entire capture process smarter and more efficient. IDT can show you how to onboard content and make point-of-origin capture simple with the Alaris Infuse solution.
Relieve the burden of managing and maintaining business systems with IDT, helping your business keep pace with the evolution of information production and management. Set up a consultation today. Visit ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Or call 877-SCAN-IDT. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Guys, I want to encourage you to take care of your health. It's easier than you think at Low T Center. They are reinventing the doctor's visit, making it quick and easy to get all of your levels checked, not just your testosterone levels. They offer a comprehensive health assessment so you know all the numbers important to your health. If you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have lack of motivation and drive, have noticed weight gain and loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels, low thyroid, or even sleep apnea. Low T Center will help determine the cause of your symptoms and will help get you back to feeling your best. It all starts with their quick and easy health assessment and is covered by most health insurance. If you think you may have sleep apnea, Low T Center offers the convenience of a take-home sleep test with results back in days. Low T Center is concierge medicine exclusively for men. Call my friends at Low T Center today to schedule your health assessment and tell them Dan Proft sent you. When you do, please. Call 630-451-9352, 630-451-9352. You can also schedule online at lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Hello, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and it's time for reparations. Reparations for the black community are bigger than a single check. Reparations are an opportunity to repair the results from the African enslavement, the redlining, the war on drugs, police terrorists, and continued discrimination. It is time for an investment as target as the policies that create our divide. I'm asking you to support the bill I sponsor. Please call your state legislator.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and I've dedicated my life in the service of others. As Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, life's most pressing and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? By supporting the reparation bill, I am working for the descendants of slaves to gain generational wealth, education, housing, jobs, and service for senior citizens. Call your state representative to support this bill. God bless.
Paid for by drwilliewilsonfoundation.org.
If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, then you need to call Team Hochberg. If you'd like to pay off debt, call Team Hochberg about a cash-out refinance. In January, Team Hochberg helped listeners convert $1.1 million of their home's equity to pay off credit cards, car loans, medical bills, collections, and judgments, which save listeners over $41,000 a month. If you've struggled with debt for years and you have heard hundreds, if not thousands, of David's ads, and your debt has not magically disappeared, then call David Hochberg now, 855-56-DAVID. And good news is that home values have increased, mortgage interest rates are low, and now is an excellent time to call Team Hochberg to consolidate your debt with a cash-out refinance and substantially reduce your monthly payment. Seriously, what are you waiting for? Call them now, 855-56-DAVID. Team Hochberg helped me and thousands of AM 560 listeners, but they cannot help you if you don't call. 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Homesite Financial, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
After 25 years of building websites for all kinds of companies and many different industries, AmericanEagle.com realized a well-designed website is also your best employee, bringing efficiency, revenue, production, showing up every day, giving above and beyond to increase your bottom line. That's what a website designed, developed, and hosted by AmericanEagle.com has brought to so many clients. An AmericanEagle.com website is a 24/7 branding exercise, building rapport and thus brand equity while you sleep. Companies like WeatherTech have relied on AmericanEagle.com's website design and development and hosting capabilities for years. When some of the world's top brands need a reliable company to prepare their sites for high-traffic events, who do they call? AmericanEagle.com. Their clients have come to rely on them for a full line of website services, from consulting and strategy to digital marketing, hosting, and maintenance. Give the team at AmericanEagle.com a call today. 1-877-WEB-NOW. The number 1 is the number. AmericanEagle.com is the website. 1-877-WEB-NOW. 1 is the number.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so momentous news this morning as trading was halted for 15 minutes because the S&P dropped more than 7% upon opening. It could be halted again if the S&P declines 13%. That's the next circuit breaker. Then trading will again pause for 15 minutes if the drop occurs on or before 3:25 p.m. Eastern Time. And then level 3 circuit breaker is if the S&P falls 20%, trading would halt for the remainder of the day. But all of those are bad news, starting with the fact that right now Dow is down north of 7%, 1,800 points, which is about where it was when trading was halted. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by our friend, CNBC contributor Jim Urio. Jim, trading halted. We haven't seen that in a couple of decades, right?
Right. We actually haven't, since they even put in these new rules, we haven't seen it happen. They put in some different rules after the flash crash in 10, that today was the first time they've ever actually been used. We were just commenting before I called. My team that I trade. Sorry if I've been up most of the night, so if I start babbling, I apologize. Okay. We were just saying how they seem to work. They seem to actually institute a little bit of calm, take away some of the panic. I mean, there's still obvious tons of panic, but right now we're actually trading above the 7% limit that was the second tier. Yeah. So right now it looks like we're going to, again, the situation is fluid, as they say. Things could change in a second, but right now there was some buyers that came in around down 7% of the day. So we are now open and actively trading.
And this is happening because not only the coronavirus fears, but also the crash in oil prices.
No doubt about it. Think about it this way: is that after we closed the stock market on Friday, it seemed like peak coronavirus fears were starting to set in. I don't know if you spent any time on social media over the weekend, but everywhere you got there was reports. But then all of a sudden on Sunday, we get news that Saudi and Russia are engaged in, some sort of price war in crude, and that the price of crude is going to drop 25%. Now, we can have a debate as to whether or not that may ultimately be good or bad for the U.S. economy. It's probably slightly bad, but that's a debate for 2 weeks from now. When any asset class a major one, is going to have a big price move like that, and the stock market's already in a mood to be scared about things, they're going to take it badly. That's an absolute. So that was kind of a 1-2 punch. I think that now we're in the throes of the last panic push lower in the stock market. I don't know if I have necessarily the guts to put money to work yet, but I'm considering it.
And you say that because you believe that it's being factored in, the a quarter of Italy's population being quarantined and that economy effectively being shut down, in addition to the prospect that similar things can happen in major urban centers in America, the way things are trending, with at least with respect to things like mass transit and big group gatherings and so forth.
No, this is certainly an enormous macroeconomic story. Now, it's going to have an impact. It's going to probably push us into a recession. When we start talking about the administration thinking about encouraging people not to fly on commercial planes, that's the lifeblood of everything. What I'm saying is that oftentimes markets, it's kind of their job to price in worst case scenarios. So yes, the stock market being down 20% off its highs is pricing in a bad economic outcome. Also, we have to always remember, too, that the Fed and the world central banks are throwing money at this problem as well. And that's kind of a decent counterbalance to risk asset prices. It doesn't feel like it today, but I think it will be at some point in time.
And so, if people are looking to looking for flight to safety, where do they go?
Well, it's been gold and the 10-year have been pretty exclusive, and the 10-year being, U.S. 10-year Treasury bonds have being the far winner as what is the main thing on the safe haven list. If this was 6 months ago, people would have been kicking around the notion that Bitcoin possibly could have been a safe haven. It has failed in its bid to become a safe haven. Gold has been pretty good throughout this, but there's been a couple quick instances. There was a time a week and a half ago where gold went down $100 because of margin calls from some hedge funds supposedly that had on stocks and needed to cover margins, so gold fell $100 in the midst of it. Gold has still been good, but the winner and still champion is the U.S. 10-year Treasury safe haven.
What about real property with interest rates trending to zero?
I believe that that's a good thing, too. I'm looking more at REITs. I heard an interesting speaker talk about how it's already beginning to happen. It's so funny when it's in the real estate market, you can't monitor price ripples real time like you can in pretty much every other asset class. But I definitely think with rates going to zero, consumers are going to have more money. I know the oil industry in this country is going to be crushed, but consumers are going to have some more money in their pocket, too. I'm not saying that someone's going to save money on gas and go buy a house, but the interest rate thing is a far bigger deal, yes. I've used safe haven, too. I would add, too, that there will be a time, and I think it's about 2 to 4 weeks out, where I think the U.S. stock market is going to be kind of on that global safe haven list, at least as an honorary member.
Well, I hope we're going to have 2-for-1 burger night at Brandt's pretty soon, because I'm going to need to start, saving my pennies.
Money.
Yeah.
No doubt about it, right? Yeah.
And do you think President Trump will address the nation on this? His greatest calling card for re-election is the economy.
This is a tough one for him, isn't it? Now, you just hit on something that I think could be a bigger issue longer term. And the answer to this is yes. The people who listen to him the closest are the ones who just listen to him to make fun of him. The people who are really trading this and really macroeconomic analysts are looking more towards the administration's actions as far as how they're going to fight this more than the words. But, and this is important, if this goes on for a month and a half, and all of a sudden the economy is still looking bad, and we start pricing in possibly a Bernie Sanders presidency, that's going to be a bigger macroeconomic impact and a longer macroeconomic impact than any of this stuff.
Jim Urios, CNBC contributor, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
A Chicago man is the 7th coronavirus case in Illinois. The former civil rights leader is endorsing Bernie Sanders. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. Trading was suspended.
I want him for slot him in. So
Just slot him in? Okay, that's cool.
so we can do him right after Walter Williams if he wants 20 minutes.
Yeah.